Right, some massive breaking news reaching us from Liverpool. Matter of hours after their 3-3 draw at Leeds United, Mo Salah has delivered a bombshell interview to journalists. And within that interview, and this is in the mix zone after the game, where he's willingly spoken, he said, for example, quotes like this: "It seems like the club has thrown me under the bus. That is how I'm feeling. I think it's very clear that someone wanted me to get all of the blame." And in terms of his relationship with Arneslot, he says that the relationship has broken down. There's no relationship between us. It was a very good relationship. Now, all of a sudden, there is no relationship. And when asked, what do you do with the situation now, he said, "It is not acceptable for me. I don't know why this is happening to me. I don't get it. I think if this was somewhere else, every club would protect its player. How I see it now is like you throw Mo under the bus because he is the problem in the team now. But I don't think I am the problem. I have done so much for this club." The questions continue, as you would expect, in the mix zone, with incredible interest in what Mo Salah is saying. And he said, "Is this your last game for Liverpool?" Well, he said, "In football, you never know. I don't accept the situation." And again, he reiterates, "I have done so much for the club." We'll go back through more of these quotes from Mo Salah because they are really explosive. They honestly are. But in terms of our own coverage here at Sky Sports, Jamie Redknapp also discussed Salah's future on Saturday Night Football for that 3-3 draw against Leeds before these quotes emerged. And this is what Jamie had to say.
He's probably thinking, why am I not starting? The facts are his form hasn't been good enough. Now, I don't foresee a situation where Liverpool, because I think they would have so much respect for him, that they'll be actively trying to move him. I think if he were to happen, it's accelerated really quickly, and if something were to happen as quickly as January, it will come more from him.
Could that happen with the African Cup of Nations, though, going on? Because he's going to disappear off that
He's going to go away, I think, next week, is it after?
Week on Monday.
A week on Monday. Anything can happen in football. If he really decides and he speaks to his agent and they go, "Look, it's not sustainable. I don't want to."
Do you think that would be the best solution for everybody then, if that happened in January?
I don't necessarily think in January. I think we've got to just let this settle. But I don't foresee that he'll see out his 2 years of his contract. I think it might be more in the summer if he were to go. When Mo's at his best, of course you want him in that team because he gives you a better balance. Conor Bradley as well, I think will probably say he'd rather have him out there. I think if you ask Dominic Szoboszlai, does he want to play right wing? No, he wants to play as a central player.
Let's just recap some more of these quotes. So just to remind you, these were given in the mix zone after the game at Ellen Road. This is where the players pass through, journalists try and grab a word with them. Mo Salah doesn't often speak, but on this occasion he chose to, and he gave some just absolutely fascinating comments to the journalists that were there. So they asked him what he was thinking sat on the bench. He said, "I didn't know what to say. It's funny, I couldn't believe it." And then when they pressed him on what he couldn't believe, he said that I'm sitting on the bench for 90 minutes. The third time on the bench. I think for the first time in my career, I'm very, very disappointed, to be fair. I've done so much for this club down the years, and especially last season. And asked whether this whole situation hurt him. And he said, "Absolutely. After what I've done for the club, it really hurts. You can imagine, really, after going from home to the club, you don't know if you're starting. I know the club too well. I've been here many years." Interestingly, he has mentioned another of our own pundits here at Sky Sports because he's name-checked Jamie Carragher. He says, "Tomorrow, Carragher's going to go for me again and again, and that's fine." That is potentially a reference to something that Jamie Carragher said recently, where he said that Mo Salah needs to speak up with Liverpool in such a difficult spell of form recently, with all of those defeats in the last few weeks and months as champions of England defending their title. And he was asking Mo Salah to stand up and try and represent the club, because he said the only time that Mo Salah speaks is if he's won the Player of the Match award or if he wants to renew or is close to a contract renewal. Is this situation impossible to solve? I cannot say it's impossible, went on Salah, but from what I feel, I've done so much for the club. I love the fans and the club so much. I don't know what is going to happen next. And then it continues around this notion of him being thrown under the bus and whether someone really wants him out. So he was asked, when you say about someone wanting you out, who? Salah said he didn't know. Then it was put to him, would it be potentially the sporting director? And he rejected that. He didn't really want to talk anymore, but he said, no, don't put the words in my mouth. From the situation I see, that's it. And had anyone communicated to explain this situation to you? I did, but I don't see an explanation. I knew yesterday I wasn't going to play in that sit, so take it and swallow it and go home. He says that Arneslot knows that he's disappointed. He knows my feeling. And then it gets on to his relationship with the Liverpool boss. Has the relationship broken down? And he's been very, very clear about this. Yes, there's no relationship between us. It was a very good relationship. And now, all of a sudden, there is no relationship. Has something changed behind the scenes? And then he said, you guys know better than me. I don't know. So a wide-ranging set of comments there from Mo Salah, who, as we mentioned before, isn't necessarily someone you hear from a huge amount in the media, in the press. But given the fact that he started this game on the bench for the third game in a row, first of all, talking about how he is deeply disappointed, that he's been thrown under the bus. It seems like the club has thrown me under the bus. These are direct quotes from Mo Salah. That is how I am feeling. I think it is very clear that someone wanted me to get all of the blame. So he's pointing the finger at the club, saying that someone essentially wants him to be the fall guy for Liverpool's current form, and his relationship with the manager Arne Slot that has gone from very good to non-existent, and that this is not acceptable for him. He doesn't understand why it's happening to him. Obviously, we heard it a little bit there when Jamie Redknapp was talking about his potential future, but this really is the clearest indication yet that Mo Salah wants to move on because it's not going the way he would want it to at Liverpool Football Club with these benched appearances. Is Saudi still on the table? Was one of the quotes that was asked, was one of the questions that was asked him. He said, I don't want to answer this question because the club is going to take me to a different direction, suggesting perhaps that the Saudi Pro League isn't his next destination. So yes, it's quite clear here in these quotes that Mo Salah is pointing the finger at Liverpool, not happy with his situation right now, not just not starting, but that he's given so much to this football club, that he loves this football club, that he loves the fans, but he's incredibly disappointed that his relationship with Arne Slot has totally broken down. But for me, the key quote here, it seems like the club has thrown me under the bus. That is how I'm feeling. I think it is very clear that someone wanted me to get all of the blame.
Bonus edition of the Gary Neville podcast, and Gary and I have been at Ellen Road today for the second time this week, actually, and we've been royally entertained, haven't we, by what's been on show here?
Yes, we're Leeds' lucky charm, I think.
You want to convince them of that, so you get a good reception here.
Look, I said before on the podcast on Thursday evening that I wasn't really expecting much on Wednesday. I think Leeds have been a little bit sort of like that this season, and I thought they were really good on Wednesday night. Today, they were up against it for large parts of that game, but that'll be a more pleasing point in many ways than the actual 3 points that they got against Chelsea, because they were dead and buried in the second half after those 2 goals that Liverpool scored. And for them to come back again, having Liverpool gone 3-2 up front, it's a remarkable week for them. I had Leeds going down. It's interesting, I think I've said this before, but I watched them on the first Monday Night Football of the season against Everton, and they actually won the game. But I thought they'll struggle. They'll really struggle with it. They're a bit sort of weak, a bit flimsy. I didn't think they had any punch up front. It's a very different front three than we've seen, the 2 or 3 that we've seen in the last few days playing for them. And I think Wednesday night was the first time that I thought they'd been in with a chance. I didn't see the game at City last week, but people say they played well. But on Wednesday night, I thought, that team could do something. What's impressed me most today about Leeds United is that we've seen 2 Leeds Uniteds, actually. We saw the pragmatic 5 at the back, 2 up front, go direct, play for free kicks and long throw-ins Leeds United, which played against Chelsea on Wednesday night and beat Chelsea up. And then we've seen that play against Liverpool today and not quite work out, in the sense that obviously once they give that goal away, you've got to change and you've got to be a bit more progressive in everything that you do. And Daniel Farke, I thought at 2-0 when he made those substitutions, I thought it was a little bit sort of going through the motions, protecting players really for, they played 3 games in a week. Not really expecting much to happen, but just probably rolling a dice a little bit and protecting players. But they then played And I said, I think after the second goal, they've turned into Real Madrid with those white shirts on, because some of the football between Aronson and Nonto was really good. And then obviously Stack scores that goal off the back of it. So some really good football and taking the ball. So very different, direct one part of a game, and then next minute you're playing passes. So the ability to change. And I know a couple of Leeds United fans, and I said this on the podcast on Thursday, they've been asking for a plan B all season. They've now got 2 plans. They can play in that last bit, which is the way in which I think they want to play more often under Daniel Farke, but they can also play that more physical way where they need to, and they'll need that a lot in this next few months. So this has been an astonishing week. I said at the end of the game, this was the week that I thought would have cemented Leeds' place in the bottom 3, to the point whereby they may have not got out of it again for the rest of the season, because they could have been beaten really heavily this week. And I then said it's been the week of hope. It's been more than the week of hope. It's been a week of utter belief and confidence. If you go into that Leeds United dressing room there now, they must be absolutely buzzing and thinking, hang on a minute, we've just done ourselves proud against Chelsea, Liverpool and Manchester City, 3 of the best teams in the league, and we can handle this. Why are we worried about anything else? So I think it's a massive week. And one more thing to mention on how big it is, I don't know how much we can pay attention to the rumours around the manager and the coach being very, very close to the edge, and that will have pulled him right back. That is I think if you're in the boardroom at Leeds United, you're thinking about what you've seen in this last week. You're thinking, well, okay, let's just hang back a little bit. If you had plans, then you maybe have to cancel them. So that may not have been the case, but there's a lot of rumours, there's a lot of noise, and I think it's been a great week for the coach, and well done to him, because he's played a big part in it.
There's an impressive spirit about them as well, isn't there? Because with the way that Liverpool had let a 2-0 lead slip and then scored again, it kind of had echoes of what had happened at Manchester City, but they didn't give in to that. And similarly, in the game itself, Rodon's head could have dropped after the error for the first goal. And despite the errors that led to goals, they still fought through it.
Yeah, and look, you can, of course, play really good football at Leeds, but there is an identity that runs through the city of Leeds, through the people of Leeds, through the teams of Leeds, going back decades. That means that, whilst you might play football, like, Harry Kuehl and Viduka were wonderful football players, but when you came here, you knew you were in for a real fight, and there was a tenacity to them on and off the pitch, and that has to be at the core of everything that Leeds do. It has to be. And I know that from playing here. If you came here for a nice game of football, you'd absolutely love that, but it shouldn't be nice here. It should be hostile. It should be horrible. It should be intimidating. It should be fast. It should be frantic. It should also have good football, of course, and all those things need to come with it. But this is very much the identity of the club. So what we've seen in this last few days is a balance of good football, physical play, spirit, fight, energy, and they've done really, really well. When I got I think I mentioned this on Thursday as well, when I got my programme a few months ago, I thought, who sent me to Leeds for twice in 4 days? But actually, it's one of the most, I suppose, 2 enjoyable games I've seen, because it's a surprise. We don't often see the big teams get beat by promoted teams. It doesn't happen that often. And we saw Chelsea get beaten on Wednesday night. We've seen Liverpool disrupted today. So, yeah, I think that's always good for the Premier League, irrespective of whether it's good for Leeds. Obviously, it's good for Leeds as well, but it's good for the Premier League. We can never lose that competitiveness from top to bottom. We've seen it in the last 4 days, really ring true. So, yeah, it's a good day for them, and it puts them in with a real shout of staying in this league. I think it's that bigger moment this week. Long way to go. Can't get carried away. You've not done anything yet. But you have proven that you can live with 3 of the top sides in the division and beat them up and play football with them in the same game like you've done with Liverpool today.
You talked about the manager's position, which always seems to be under scrutiny, and all we have to judge him on in the Premier League is what happened at Norwich. Is that perhaps a bit unfair, because it was very different circumstances there? They were taking a lot more of a cautious approach, and this is a very different club to the one he was managing at Carrow Road?
Yeah, I think when Norwich came up, they quite clearly said that they weren't going to sort of bust the club for the Premier League status and go and spend £100 million and end up in trouble with players on massive wages, and that's completely understandable. But Leeds is different than Norwich. As big a club as Norwich are, this is different here. This is a massive expectation club. It's a huge city. It's a club that's got a history of winning trophies. So you've got a different level of expectation, of belief around that what should happen and what should occur out on that pitch and where they should be. I know they haven't been there for a number of years. So when you're trying to build that as an owner of a football club, which Leeds owners are, they won't want to be in a position whereby they just sort of drift back into the Championship. So you can see why this pressure and this noise builds around the coach, but he's reacted and these players have responded for him, and there's no doubt that those players are with him because they've seen him there at the end going round and celebrating a draw and celebrating the other night and doing a lap of honour with the Leeds fans, going absolutely crazy in the stands. You know, that's important. There's no sort of dressing room being lost here.
The big reaction he did have was in the second half against Manchester City when he switched to this back three system. Do you think that's form and fitness permitting what he has to stick with now?
I would stick with it if I was him, knowing you can change to the sort of... How many teams are Leeds going to out-football in this division? Let's be clear. You know, the amount of football teams we've got in here that have got better players. So what they can do is stay in the game. What they've got to be here at Ellen Road is in the game with 15, 20 minutes to go. And then start to get that crowd up. Crosses, tackles, shots on goal, corners. And then you might start to play some of your football, which we've seen today. But being solid, making sure that you're difficult to beat, staying in games, I think has to be a principle that teams that come up from the Championship have to get into them. And I think we've seen that a little bit more this season. They've been a bit more physical, likes of Sunderland and Burnley and Leeds. So we've seen so many teams over the last few years come up and try and take on Manchester City at Manchester City's game. And it's embarrassing to watch. So let's forget that. Let's have two styles of play. And Daniel Parker's doing his interview here now. He's smiling. You can see it beaming all across his face. It's amazing. You don't even need to hear the words, do you, to know whether a manager's had a good game or a bad game. You can tell. And he should be really proud. You know, his players will deserve 1 or 2 days off to recover from what they've done this week. But I think in terms of what he's got now, he's stumbled across a system, but it suits them. With the 2 strikers, the wing-backs, the 3 centre-halves and the 3 in midfield. But he's also shown that they can play really well in that system that they've got and play some decent football. And Liverpool had switched. Liverpool had switched to a glass half-empty mentality of seeing the game out by his substitutions he's made. So his momentum's gone, but he's trying to manage the game. And then as soon as you score a goal and you've got players on the pitch that Leeds had to play, you're in real business.
So what do we make of Liverpool then? Because this is the 3rd promoted club they faced. They beat Burnley only with an injury time penalty. They only got a draw against Sunderland and perhaps were lucky not to lose it at the end. And they've only got a draw here, having at one stage been 2-0 ahead. Where are they at now?
A confused team. Confused by the fact there's still a lot of very good things that you see. Shape, sustaining attacks, certain individual performances. And then I think they've lost their way up front in the sense of what does a Liverpool goal look like? What are the patterns that you see? So I'm not quite seeing the repeated patterns, and maybe I've just become used to seeing Salah on that right wing for so many years, and obviously going back it's Firmino and Mane, and then since then it's been different. But you know, maybe I've just got used to that sort of type of player that plays on the profile. And I asked actually a few weeks ago that Liverpool do change and Szoboszlai sort of goes to one side and they play a bit more narrow and they become a bit more difficult to beat. So I think that's the right thing to do. But the mistakes that they make and the opportunities and encouragement that they give to teams when so much experience out there. I mean, Konate's challenge for that first one. So when he slides in and he sort of like goes towards onto, I go, oh, because I just thought it was one of those where the centre half slides, the player runs it too far, and it goes out for a sort of a goal kick. But he slid towards the legs rather than slide that way and try and block. Because Nonto's here, he's basically slid towards him. And I thought the ball had gone out initially, but it hadn't done. And then he sort of like hooks his leg a little bit, and it's so clumsy. It's so clumsy. And all of a sudden, the roof caves in on you at grounds like this. Anfield's the same. You can be 2-0 up at Anfield, you can see the goal, and all of a sudden you've got madness. And that's Ellen Road as well. And it comes from individual errors. They were absolutely cruising in this game at 2-0. I thought they played a good first half defensively. I thought the front three weren't good enough in the sense of Wirtz, Gakpo and Ekitike. They didn't get involved enough, and the quality wasn't good enough. So that was something to pick up on. But if you said to me today about Liverpool, what was the thing they had to do was compete with Leeds in that first half and nullify them and shut them up and keep the crowd quiet and get your game going. And they did that. So I thought it was a professional first half from Liverpool without anything happening spectacular up front. And then all of a sudden you get the goal. Leeds make a mistake. Ekitike's blistering pace gets onto it, finishes, boom. Then I was asking them a lot in the first half to play balls earlier into the box, and I think Bradley did that. He played a great ball into the box. Again, Ekitike, brave, gets in there, 2-0, game over. You've won the game. You don't need to win it again. And Arneslot makes substitutions, telling his team, we've won this game. This is now about shape. It's now concentration. It's focus, game management. And they've not been capable of it again. And they've created their own problems. And even at 3-2, you were almost like, something could happen. You don't trust them. You can't trust them. They've lost trust. Now, they've got a lot of credit in the bank, these players and this manager, over what's happened in the last 18 months with them winning the league. But they're losing it rapidly. And it's getting to the point where they're making mistake after mistake after mistake. I thought Konate and Van Dijk had handled the two threats up front aerially really well in the first half. The minute that Leeds started to bring on the little players, the sort of players that were a little bit more tricky and a little bit more, Konate started to look a little bit all over the place. So it's a really bad day for them, really bad day, and they got a lifeline by going in 3-2. I thought that Gravenberch and Szoboszlai were the two best players, and Szoboszlai gets the goal, and you think, right, that's it. But the 9 minutes impacted them, didn't it? I don't think they were happy with the 9 minutes. I don't know where 9 minutes came from, but you could see that, they weren't confident in the 9 minutes. And just before the corner, and maybe it's something Carragher can look at on Monday Night Football, they were screaming. I don't know whether it was the goalkeeping coach or the set-piece coach.
Yeah.
They were screaming him and Arneslot down here at people before that goal goes in. I don't know what it was at, but something had unnerved them, and they find themselves on a bad one. It's a bad one again. And they'll be dejected going back to Liverpool tonight on that coach. It's only obviously an hour away, and I think they'll be in a very dark place. I don't think they'll be in a good place at all.
You know what football's like. You can get overreactions, and undoubtedly the questions about Arneslot are going to resurface again. Do you think that is an overreaction?
Well, if you want overreactions, come and listen to the Gary Neville podcast. No, I'm not. I can't entertain the idea of Arneslot and talking about his job. That's just not for me. He's won a title 4 months ago. There's definitely a problem. There's definitely, I think, an issue of settling this new team, this group of players who've come together into the squad, and what's happening with Salah, what's happening with Isak, what's happening with the defenders, what's happening with the full-backs. There's lots of questions, and you can tell he's still trying to answer them, and he's probably not going to answer them for a while yet. It may even need that something, may need a transfer window just to sort of refine things again. It might just need that big transfer window they've had. It might just need a couple to leave and a couple to come in just to sort of get to where he wants to, because he's had a very, very steady ship, hasn't he, when he's first come in. He's not had the confusion of loads of players coming in, so he's got a stable group of players who know each other. He's then got this introduction into the dressing room of 5 or 6 players and trying to integrate them into a team with real excitement and massive transfer fees. Wirtz, £100 million, Isak, £100 million, Ekitike, £80 million. You spent over 300 million on 3 players with real excitement. We were all saying Liverpool are unbelievable favourites for the league. I wasn't. I said Arsenal, but everyone, and I could see why everyone was. I'm not disagreeing with them. I'm not rewriting history. I think Liverpool, to be fair, were right up there with Arsenal to be title favourites. And yeah, it's gone wrong. It's gone badly wrong. But it isn't a time to throw the baby out with the bathwater. This is a time for them just to sort of what will be knuckle down, work hard, think about what they need to do, refine that squad a little bit more, think about what they're doing in January, start to plan for next season with Arneslot and what that looks like, because they've got a fantastic manager, in my opinion, and think about now how they rebuild that Liverpool defence, how they get that Liverpool midfield right, and most importantly, how is he going to get the best out of Wirtz and Isak? Wirtz, I said he was very young. Lots of potential, but it looks to me like, one, the settling in of the Premier League and what it is and the physicality of it and different things, but the coaching of less is more. Don't try and get on the ball as much, don't try and run as much. Every time I watch him I think the same thing: you run too much and you try and get on the ball too much. Now that seems the antithesis of what a football player in number 10, you should say, get on the ball, go and run, mate. No, I want my number 10 close to my centre forward, within 12 to 18 yards from goal, And, if possible, when the ball goes wide, I want him making runs in there with 6 yards. I don't see him make one run within 6 yards of the goal where the goals get scored. So there are a number of little things for me with Wirtz that I just look at and think, you know, the smart people in that Liverpool backroom staff, they must be saying these things to him. But I'm still not seeing it sort of what would be emerge on the pitch. I'm still seeing the same sort of things happen with him, where he's drifting back the way or he's running wide and he's always on the move. And I think when players are always on the move, they're easy to pick up. It's when players are just sort of walking and and then they move late and fast. And also, when he goes too deep, he's in an area where most opposition teams will not care about him being there, because he's not a De Bruyne who goes deep and then gets into this right channel and starts whipping crosses in from 40 yards away, and you think you better get close to him. He's not that player. So he has to be, for me, in tight areas, in and around Ekitike and Isak, 5, 6, 7, 8 yards away from them, 10 yards max, in and around the edge of the box, so it's popping into each other, pop, 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 boom. I can see that. I don't know what that is, what I've just done. But there's like a little bit, I can see him being there with like a clever move, a little over, back to him, feed back to him, wall pass, shoot. I can see. But if he's not anywhere near his striker and he's not building a relationship with his striker, it's not going to happen. He's got to get himself in the right areas. I'm absolutely adamant and sure that this is his problem currently. Yes, settling in, but do yourself a favour. You need goals. The thing that will bring him out of... There's two things that will bring him out of his slump. The team winning and him winning. And him winning looks like scoring goals at £100 million. It's scoring goals and setting up goals. The only way he's going to do that is play within the 18-yard box and closer to goal and closer to his strike partner. That's it. End of. He's not going to do it by basically playing out on the left wing, right wing, or playing in central midfield alongside McAllister or Gravenberch or wherever he is. So for me, really emphatic. I think that knowing that position from a point of view, if we played 2 up at United with 1 off, that, Sir Alex Ferguson was a striker. People probably know that, but if they didn't, he was a striker, and he was obsessed with the 2 players up front always being close to each other, to be able to just pivot off each other. So the one could run through, one could sort of be higher, then one could go through, and opposite. You'd always combined. So, yeah, that needs dealing with.
With that in mind, could Salah and Ekitike play together, do you think?
Salah and Ekitike.
Isak and Ekitike.
It doesn't look like it could happen on paper. When you look at it, you think of them as being too similar. But I don't rule out the fact that I wouldn't like to play against the pair of them, but they would need to work really hard at it and find some common ground between them about who's going to compromise at times and who's going to be the one that drops in maybe, who's going to be the one that sort of maybe presses or whatever. People didn't think York and Cole could play together, but there was a common ground between them that they found very early, a relationship that they built. So if there's a relationship there that's building off the pitch and they're supporting each other and they feel like that we can really make this work, because they're both talented, how can I sit here and say that 2 players shouldn't play with each other when they're both worth £220 million between them? They should be able to combine and cause nightmares for defenders. I just don't think Arneslot sees that, to be fair. I think he sees Wirtz and Isak or Wirtz and Ekitike. I think that's how he sees it. But yeah, I don't rule it out. And at this moment, if you're going to play a more tight midfield 4 and you want 2 up front, a bit like Leeds have done, but obviously Leeds have gone to a 5, then yeah, why not? Just get them up there and get them running in the channels, get them running in behind, let them be a nightmare. They're quick, lightning quick. But I don't think that's the priority. I think that would then mean that Wirtz has got to go somewhere else. And yeah, I'm not sure that's what's on the cards.
Quick word about elsewhere. Rare stumble today for Arsenal.
Yeah.
Unai Emery says, talking about the title race, are empty words until April. So he's not countenancing any speculation that they might be in the race. What do you think about Aston Villa's prospects?
Well, I think that you know more than me. What's Arsenal's record like at Aston Villa? I mean, I think they've lost there a couple of times, haven't they, in the last few years?
Yeah, they lost at home to them. In fact, I think Villa completed the double over them that season when they were really close.
Of course they did.
And if I remember rightly, last season they were 2-0 up Arsenal and dropped points again at home. Yeah,
so look, I didn't do the game today, and I didn't do that game away at that you're talking about that Villa won at Villa Park in that season, but I did do the game later on in the season where obviously Ollie Watkins scored. Yeah. So I did that game. It always strikes me as a team, Villa, that can beat Arsenal. That's what I was thinking today before the game. And Villa Park, I think, is just obviously the form that they're in as well. Unai Emery, the coach. So that's a game you can lose. that's a game you can lose. I think they did okay in the game, but Villa played really well. I wouldn't be panicking at all if I was Arsenal off the back of that. You're going to lose a game or two. You just are. You're going to lose a game or two. And you're going to win a lot of games. They could sit there tonight and think that Manchester City are a couple of points off them. But they've had a tough week, Arsenal, haven't they? They've had a tough week. You know, Chelsea away, Villa away. You could argue it's been Arsenal's toughest week of the season. Obviously, the game in between that at home. So, no, I think that they'll realise that Manchester City have got those types of weeks coming at points in the season as well. I don't think it's a time to panic, but they're certainly going to feel that breath on the neck of Manchester City and Pep Guardiola. And I think City will be going to bed tonight thinking, oh, if we can stay this close until April, May, and Unai Emery mentions April, May, let's see what they're made of. And that's what Manchester City have to do. They have to hang in there and sit on their shoulder and see what they're about and see what they're made of and see what they're like in a real title race again, because they've seen them before. But for Arsenal, no panic. It's a game you can lose. Don't dismiss it and don't think everything's okay. But on the other hand, don't think about it too much as being some sort of what would be bigger thing than it is, because sometimes you just lose football matches that are competitive against good teams, and Villa are a good team.
Do you still have your doubts about Manchester City defensively, bearing in mind that, you know, even though they've come through this week, they were lucky to do so against Fulham, having let them back into the match. They conceded a couple against Leeds and saw them come back into it, even though City ultimately won.
Yeah, because they give you a chance. The teams of Manchester City that won the league all those years on the run didn't give you much of a chance at all. They were, you couldn't penetrate them at all. You couldn't get the ball off them. So every time I watch them, I think, yeah, you've got a chance of scoring goals. So I think they'll get a bloody nose from a time or two. But Arsenal are going to have to be reliable and consistent as they have been in the first part of the season still to win the league. I mean, this is the season of inconsistency. I mean, everybody's all over the place. You've just seen it here with Liverpool again today, Chelsea the other night, Manchester United on Thursday night. The teams that you would have expected to be in and around the top six, Tottenham, you know, they're all over the place. Villa were down at the bottom a couple of months ago. Now they've sort of risen, and so everything's really strange. Arsenal have been the only thing that have been reliable. They started in a week that was tough. They found it tough. So we just need to make sure now, from an Arsenal perspective, are they going to be consistent? Are they going to be consistent and get back on the horse and sort of canter forwards again, or are they going to start sort of, falling off and being a little bit sort of all over the place? And this is going to impact them. So Christmas is an important period. There's loads of points to play for. Massive month, December, I always think, with 4 or 5 games, 6 games, more Premier League games than ordinarily there would be in any other month. So, yeah, let's have a look at it. But City should be encouraged. But I still think that Arsenal's, are favourites, but not as much as I did maybe a week or so ago.
Well, many more twists and turns to come. Thanks for joining us on the Gary Neville podcast. Thanks, Gary.
Thank you. Thanks, Rob.
There's a number of ways, Dan, to look at statistics. It's 2 very, very mediocre performances at home, or 1 defeat in 8. Depends on which way you look at it. But I guess that defeat to Everton and the meek draw against West Ham United is what's going to live in the fans' memories more than anything. But this lurch from they've turned a corner to it's crisis and nothing in between, it simply can't be sustained, can it?
Well, it did feel a few weeks ago like United had turned a corner and they suddenly looked like a competent side. And I was like, oh, wow, what's going on here? This is the first time in years we've had to worry about Man U. But yeah, they've had a couple of dreadful results. I mean, the Everton game, how long did they play that against 10 men? The vast majority. And then dropping points at home to West Ham like that, a pretty poor West Ham team, was another really bad result. So, the mood is glum again. I think the pressure is back on Amorim. This is nothing new. We've kind of been in this cycle for a while. I think they look like a decent team when they've got their full side out there. As soon as they get a couple of injuries, and Cunha was out of the team recently, wasn't he? Sesko's been out of the team, and then suddenly they were playing Xerxes through the middle again, and they didn't look like they had much bite. So I think they remain a kind of deeply flawed side. Questions remain about Amorim, about his tactics, about his system, about his approach. I can't really see much more than them sort of pushing toward the bottom end of the European places, to be honest, as it stands.
And they need to be fine with that, by the way. I think the fact that the expectations at United are so low, I think weirdly it helps them. You see how compressed the middle of the table is. A couple of wins, suddenly you're challenging for top 5 or 6. And I think for United at this point in time, they have to be okay with a draw against West Ham. They have to be kind of okay with an inconsistency, because that is currently what their level is at. I think the problem is, for so many years, that they've had this, I think, exalted level of expectation that was beyond anything they were producing on the pitch. You know, like what you said about this can't be sustained, can it? And, you know, in the words of the great Mick McCarthy, it can.
But they have bought three £65 million or €65 million forwards, and they've had a manager there for what, over a year now. So you would expect a degree of improvement and consistency. I suppose they've had that, but
and top 6, top 7 probably is a level of improvement. Certainly if you match that with a cup run. They were so poor last season, and we all, like, none of us were in any illusions at the surgery that was required.
James, Dan mentioned it there. Questions about his formation, question about his tactics, question about his results, but also questions about his use and maybe non-use of Kobbie Mainoo. Now, in his news conference on Friday, did we see the strain starting to show? Because he was biting back at journalists who were asking him about Kobbie Mainoo. Andy Dunn's actually written his column in the Sunday Mirror, especially about his non-selection of the England international. He says, manager watches player in training, manager doesn't think player is good enough to start for the first team, manager puts him on the bench, end of story. Now, it would be quite straightforward if the team that the manager does select was pulling up trees on a regular basis. Instead, Manchester United are simply nondescript at the moment. There's one thing being questioned about his formation, and the fans will continue to back Ruben Amorim, because Manchester United fans tend to do that, and they back their manager. Is this an argument maybe he shouldn't be taking on because of the love that the fans have for a player like Mainoo?
Well, yes, in the sense that he's also framed it as, in that press conference, he was sort of suggesting that journalists are calling for Kobbie Mainoo to play because he played well for England last summer and 2 + 2 = 4. I'm not sure that's the reasoning behind it. I think that what Ruben Amorim has done with this system and being so wedded to it is that he's created an argument where it's Bruno Fernandes or Kobbie Mainoo. I think we all agree that Mainoo with Fernandes in central midfield would be too open. Okay, maybe against the worst teams in the league, when you'd expect United to maybe have 60-65% of the ball at home, you could get away with it, but United aren't really that kind of cohesive unit that could take that kind of gamble in the central area of the pitch. So because Amorim has set up his team in this way, and they bought these 3 forwards, and he doesn't seem to think Fernandes can play there. He wants Fernandes to play deeper in central midfield. It's become a straight choice between the captain, the best player of the last few years, the one guy that United look to for a bit of creativity, versus Kobbie Mainoo. That's why Kobbie Mainoo is losing that argument, and it's been framed that way because of how Amorim has set up his team. And the longer that his team is bereft of any consistency and creativity and that bit of spark that Kobbie Mainoo can give you, the more it starts to reflect really badly on Ruben Amorim.
But picking Mainoo will almost do him a favour with the fans, though, wouldn't it? I mean, it would raise the atmosphere inside Old Trafford, surely.
He doesn't fit the system. I mean, that's no slight on Kobbie Mainoo. If you look at the profile of midfielder that United have been trying to buy in the market, somebody like Belaber at Brighton, it's a completely different profile. The way that system works, you need those 2 central midfielders, those 2 pivots, to be incredibly physical, to be covering a lot of ground, to be running all over the pitch, tackling, and that is not Mainoo's game. Mainoo is a combination player. He's best in a 3-man midfield where he can combine with other players, neat little interchanges, and that is not the system that United have. Probably, if Amorim is not going to go, and there's so no signs of compromising on his system, Mainoo probably does have to go, and he'll look at the example of Scott McTominay, he'll look at the example of Marcus Rashford as players who have left Manchester United and flourished as a result.
OK, Wolves against Manchester United, remember, is the Monday night football. You get the impression it's one Manchester United and Amorim dare not lose.
Minutes to go, you have a chance to go 5th after so many years of disappointment, years of criticism. You know what is happening if they equalize. They're going to kill you tomorrow in the press. They're going to boo you. So 10 minutes, be like double focus.
But we feel like something's going to happen. So I don't understand how the players can't feel it. No matter how you might be playing a really poor team, you 1-up, but anything can happen. We've just seen there with a set piece. And obviously West Ham stayed in the game and good delivery. But United, again, you felt like in America, calling a time-out and getting the United players to get after 70 minutes ago. Lads, the game's in the balance still, as if they were 2 or 3
When you were both playing in that situation, I know it wouldn't have happened but could you sense it coming for the opposite? You're saying you don't know how the players didn't sense it.
Well, you hope it. Well, your experienced players go. You try. What you say. You smell it. You smell it. Go, they're still in the game here. United making substitutions, and the manager's entitled to do that. But I was looking at players coming off, and everyone. It was like they'd won the league, and they were all just all chilling out. You go, it's 1-0. Get off the pitch. You get somebody show some intensity to your play when you're defending set pieces. When the subs are going on and the subs are coming on, it was all a bit like, hey, this is cool.
Exactly, yeah.
You can't be cool when you're 1-0 up. Get the job done. You're 1-0 up, then show your quality. Man United, they're more quality players than West Ham. They have, in general. And this is not a good United team. But show that when you get 1-0 up, where you go, all right, you can relax a little bit now because you got that 1-0, a little bit, but knowing anything can happen. But United were all
exactly.
Too chilled out, too relaxed, get the job done.
Exactly, and I'm not saying that when we played or managed that it was perfect. I conceded many, as a player, as a manager, zillion goals like that. But
United's last...
After that, we were I was angry. Because let's say you are 1-0 up, 10 minutes to go. If they score, it's got to be a screamer. It's got to be from 20 yards. It's got to be great header from whoever, blah, blah, blah. But not cheap goals, We got to be double for 10 minutes to go.
But the last 3 or 4 games United have played, that sums them up. It's just not quite doing enough.
It's just a bit... Bleh.
Yeah,
Isn't it? Is that what you're saying?
I can't even find
doesn't
a word
matter.
for it.
Okay. The new chance will come next week.
Where's the frustration with the group of players? We saw it the weekend. I'm looking at the last 2 or 3 games, and I've watched the games closely. The lack of quality, intensity in their play. Yeah, they got 2 goals against Palace, but Palace defended the way Palace defended them 2 goals were like a pub team, really bad. United kind of got out of jail, but then you give them credit for hanging in there and sticking at it. But then tonight you go, United, a lot of praise before the game, and again a lot of good PR. They're good at set pieces. They can go 5th. And as if this team's not ready to go 5th in the league. They've got Wolves. They've got Wolves next. Mm-hmm. There's an opportunity. Saw Wolves the other night. Wolves, one of the worst teams I've ever seen in the Premier League. Let's see if United can go do a job at them. And if they do get 1-0 up, don't sit back and go, we're playing Wolves or like West Ham tonight who are in the bottom 3, going, yeah, we got 1. Don't worry, there's another 2 or 3 coming here. We're going to try and flex our muscles. But then he makes his substitutions, and the game all became a bit stretched and a bit, which suited West Ham. Because West Ham thought, listen, do you know what? United gave West Ham today. They gave them hope. But when you're here and you're 1-up, go, you don't even dream you're getting back into this game. But West Ham, as the game was going on, we're sitting here. Slavs had a pack of biscuits at this stage, and we're sitting there going,
whoa, pop kettle. No offence, but pop kettle.
I had a few.
Yeah, you did.
4 or 5. No. But I don't get it, how the players don't sense it, or the manager doesn't sense it, going, lads, there could be a twist here. There could be a twist when you're 1-0. And the last 2 home games, United have scored 1 goal. You got to do better than that.
What I didn't like, we are in football for so long that sometimes the teams that are in trouble, that are on a bad run, then you are winning. And then you concede a goal because you are scared. You are scared. It's only, let's not concede, but you concede because you're afraid. It wasn't like this. For me, they conceded because they were too comfortable. They were sloppy. They thought, it's over, we're going to win it anyway. And that happened to them.
But that's worse,
that's what I do. That's worse. That's worse. Because the one when you are afraid, it's human. You are human. You know what I mean. You can't help it.
And you can't.
This is like.
You can't relax in this game when you're 1-0 up. I know. I kind of played with a kind of an angry head on, but you can't relax. I see people going on and off, and it was just substitutions where players were walking off. Every player at Old Trafford now gets a standing ovation. I'm going, what are the standards of the club? Where are the standards from? Is it coming from the top, the players, even the fans? The fans are cheering everything these days.
Although that, just on the fans side of things, is just them trying to, isn't it?
Trying what?
To lift it?
Trying to lift it. Yeah, maybe. There's a bit of that. But also, where's your standards? Where's your demands on the club? Where's your expectation? You want it up, and it's just a bit, again, I said it at half time, you're waiting for something to happen. Get your top players on the ball. Make it happen. Get the job done. Maybe relax a 3-0. Maybe relax a 3-0. And even then you're going, hold on, because you're on about setting standards and good habits. But you want it up and they give a corner away. Bruno gets drawn to the ball. And it's like Bowen, he said himself, he's 5'9", one of the smallest players on the pitch. He's getting a header. We're praising United the last week, saying how good they are at set pieces. Well, that works both ways. It's well and good attacking. You got to defend them. You defend it properly. At least you say it was a poor game, but you get 3 points.
Yeah, it's right. But what Mark said, I mean, you got a point. It's like from fans' point of view, they're helping them. Like Thomas Frank said the other day, don't boo us during the game. Boo us after the game.
I'm not saying to boo him,
yeah,
but don't be cheering every time a player traps the ball, though. He's a hero.
Squad, I think there are only 4 players who've not started the Premier League game season. One's Tom Heaton, third-choice goalkeeper, Tottenham last year. The club were open selling him, and Lisandro's just come back from injury. I mean, for Covey, can you see how it must be quite deflating and demoralising for him?
I see it. I see it, and I just want to win. I try to put the players. I don't look who it is. I don't care about that. I just trying to put the best players on the pitch. You have Ugarte that played 2 games. One of them, Casa, was out. Bruno is always fit. He's the guy that is doing his position, so maybe it has to do with that.
Do you think AFCON could be the opportunity for Kobe?
I don't know, guys. I don't know. It's the same question. I don't know. I don't know what is going to happen. It depends. I see in the training. I see is the best thing for the team. I will put it. That is the only way I know how to respond to that.
Obviously, Wolves provided some low moments at Molineux last season. That felt like one of the darker moments. How important is it not to take the fact that they've not won a game this season for granted because you just played 18th?
Everything can happen, and that will change. There is no team in the Premier League history that didn't won one game, so it can be any game. So we need to try to improve, to rest the players, work really well, and prepare a tough match, because with us it's always a tough match.
Do you understand why we ask about Kobe? Because he's homegrown.
Yes, of course. Of course, I understand, and my job is to answer. But I'm trying to answer always the same thing, and you ask me always the same thing. I understand what you are saying. You love Kobe. He starts for England, but that doesn't mean that I need to put Kobe when I feel that I shouldn't put Kobe. So it's my decision.
For all you say about the academy, that you don't actually trust the academy.
Why?
Because they're never picking players.
Any players we have Kobe Mino.
Well, Lacey.
But Lacey in difficult situations. In Lacey, sometimes when Brian is not there, I put Ahmad because I have other wing backs to play, and sometimes it's hard. So you are asking me why I don't put Lacey to play when I have other guys that are international and also they are in the bench. So I try to put the best guys, the prepared guys for this moment of the club and try to win a game. That's the only thing, guys.
Ruben, when the team has the opportunity this season to step on and push up the league, to move into the top 4, top 5 areas, there seems to always be a setback like tonight. Do you think there's an issue with their belief, coping with the pressure of the moment?
I don't know. I think it's a clear fact, but I think it's not a mental thing. I think they are not thinking we are going to top 5. No. I think it's some moments we play good, sometimes we play bad, and we are not getting the results.
Do you think Diogo and Matthias will be okay for the next game?
Who?
Diogo Dalot and Matthias de Ligt, will they be okay for Wolves?
I think so. We'll see.
Rudy, you've used, say, the word anxious when you described Patrick Dorgu last week. Diogo Dalot used the same word after today. How do you go about solving the team maybe feeling anxious when they have a 1-0 lead?
I said that Diogo is anxious today.
Last week you said Patrick Dorgu's on the ball, so it's obviously similar with Diogo. The team felt anxious when they were 1-0 up today. How do you help the team get through
that feeling?
I didn't feel the team anxious. I feel the environment a little bit anxious because it's normal, because we prove in the past and people understand that nothing is certain here. But we didn't draw because of that. We draw because in 1 second ball we have advantage. We let a corner, and the corner anything can happen.
Carl?
Mr. Amarin, last season you made mention of the squad's physicality. You know, it was different in Europe compared to the Premier League. Today, you've mentioned all about second balls. Do you think the team has that necessary, the characteristics you talk about?
No, we can win second ball. We were winning second balls, and after the goal, we lost a little bit the second ball, especially with Mateus. It's moments of the game, and that's why I try to put Manu and Mason Mount. They are aggressive, trying to win the second ball, and that can happen in moments of the game, not all the time.
So is that to be clear, do you believe that's a fatigue problem or constant?
No, it's not. I don't know. It's more tactical than physical. Is to be prepared for fighting for the second ball. Maybe because we score a goal, we are a little bit more relaxed. I had the feeling that we had the game under control because the opponent is not even near our box. I don't know. I have to check.
Please forgive me for this question.
No, of course.
Just press conference. You said I don't know multiple times, but also you do know the things that you want to do to improve them and then fix them.
I said don't know today many times.
Across this press conference, you said I don't know in response to Twitter.
This one more.
This one today.
Yeah, but when?
Yeah.
When?
And I'm essentially asking you.
But when I say don't know, which question?
Let's move on.
Yep.
Rob.
Just on AFCON, you know now when you're going to have players available and
no, we are dealing with everything. They are going to play the next game, and that is the only thing I care.
Last question for Pete.
Hi Ruben. Didn't score against Everton here. A right back scoring tonight. Do you front three struggled again tonight? Do you feel that you have enough firepower to see your project through, or is that something you might consider looking at in the January?
No, we need to wait until January. We need to see what we are able to do. So I don't know. I really don't care about that in this moment. I just want to prepare the game with the players that we have, and we have to be better in the next game. Thank you.
We now know that England will face Croatia in their opening match of next summer's World Cup. That match will take place on Wednesday, June 17th in either Dallas or Toronto. Let's have a look at England's group with one more team yet to be confirmed. England will face Croatia and Panama. And we've seen that before. Our reporter Dave Reed, you'd have seen, has snuck in. Dave, we've seen this before, haven't we?
Yes, we have. Russia 2018, England played Panama. It was their first World Cup then, and England were comfortable winners. I think it was 6-1 in the end in that fixture.
We'll take that.
I mean, you absolutely would, wouldn't you? I think Interestingly, you know, the first game, as we've been talking about, it's either going to be in Dallas or Toronto, and you know, people unfamiliar with the geography of that, it's about 1,800 miles, I think, between. So I wouldn't go rushing around kind of booking flights. And actually, you know, we're going to have to wait an extra day to find
it's tomorrow,
out.
Isn't it?
Yeah, we're going to have to wait an extra day to find out venues and kick-off times as well. So that's why we're not too sure yet whether it will be Dallas or Toronto. But the draw ongoing at the moment, and significantly, we now know the makeup of the Scotland group as well. And as we're saying, this is a moment in a generation for Scotland who've been waiting to qualify for a World Cup. And if you were with us on Premier League Friday, there it's Brazil, Morocco, and now we know Haiti are going to be in Scotland's group. Their second World Cup, having been to the Men's World Cup in 1974. I think when you look at the makeup of that group, you suspect that Brazil and Morocco might be the favourites, with Scotland and Haiti lower down in terms of...
We've seen that before as well, 98, Brazil,
exactly, yeah,
Morocco.
Yes, and obviously Morocco, very difficult opponents, having got to the semi-finals, and 98, Brazil, Scotland. It'll bring back great memories for Scotland fans, and they'll be very excited. And if you think...
do you know what, Dave? We're going to talk to some Scotland fans in just a moment.
Oh, excellent.
And we're going to hear from them. So I want to go back to England.
Yes.
Will Thomas Tuchel, do you think, be happy with the group so far?
I mean, yes, I think to a point. Croatia were the top seeded side in pot 2, so on paper the most difficult side that England could have got. So in that respect, and also you think back to previous matches against Croatia, the semi-finals, which obviously went to Croatia's way on that occasion, and then you also think back to the game at Wembley where England failed to qualify for the European Championships, and that might bring back some bad memories for England fans. But I think on the whole, out of those teams that England have now, Panama and Croatia, I think Tuchel will be fairly satisfied.
Because England have played Panama before and dispatched Panama before, haven't they?
Yes, they have. I think, you know, Panamanian football has improved immeasurably since that World Cup. The exposure of that World Cup in 2018, they've improved as a side, improved as a nation, and invested in their football team. So I think England fans expect them to brush them aside. Look, there will obviously be a quality difference. And now we're finding out now that it's either going to be Ghana or New Zealand in England's group. So we're just waiting to find out who that might be.
We are nearly there. Of those two, who would Tuchel prefer?
I think New Zealand would probably be an obvious option. I think in terms of style of football, it might suit England better.
Well, I can tell you it's Ghana.
It's Ghana. Ideal, yeah. So England, now we know the makeup of their group for the World Cup. It's going to be Croatia, the first game on the 17th of June. England are going to have to wait a little bit with the first game of the World Cup on the 11th. They're going to have to wait until the 17th of June to face Croatia in either Dallas or Toronto. We know they'll be facing Panama, and now we know that he's going to be Ghana in England's group, which is Group L. The venues and locations actually for England for the tournament: Toronto, Dallas, New York, New Jersey, Boston, Philadelphia. So if you're thinking about what does that mean in terms of kick-off and are we going to have to stay up later, it's East Coast, so it might help in terms of audience for this World Cup. And we know that Donald Trump and Gianni Infantino are very keen to have as many people watching this tournament as possible. So for England, it feels like there might be some suitable kick-off times.
Dave Reed, thank you very much. Dave's put that in context. Well, I mentioned Scotland. I said that we were going to speak to some fans. It's their first World Cup since 1998, and it's déjà vu. They will face Brazil and Morocco like they did in 1998. But their first game is against Haiti. Well, Iona Ballantyne is at a watch party in Glasgow and joins us now. Iona, what's the reaction been?
Deja vu indeed. Can you believe it? There's been so much excitement, plenty of cheers here tonight with Scotland. We're drawn in Group C with Brazil, Morocco and Haiti. I'm joined by two fans now, Gordon and Blair. Now, Gordon, a repeat of the 1998 World Cup, almost, with Brazil and Morocco. You have memories of that. Can you tell us about it?
I do, absolutely. So France 98, I was 9 years old, and that was basically my first moment of falling in love with football. I fell in love with the national team. The 98 World Cup kit was my first Scotland kit, and it's just so exciting to see us back on this big stage, and a whole new generation of young people will get the opportunity to watch Scotland at a World Cup.
You just showed me a picture of you in that kit when you were 9 years old. That's so special. But Blair, for you, no memories of '98 because this is your first World Cup. How special has this been?
No memories of Scotland at all, to be fair, until the last couple of years. I mean, this is just incredible. Wow. I was born in 2002, so I could only dream of this moment, and for this to happen, my voice is gone like that. It's just that I don't know what to say. This is a dream come true. I'm really in heaven right now. Honestly.
What was your reaction to Brazil, Morocco, and Haiti?
It's just this place just exploded. Like the draw wasn't even made. As soon as the Scotland name came out, the place just exploded. We didn't even know who we got. It's just we're so happy to be in the World Cup. 27 years. We got Brazil, Morocco. Of course, it is a repeat of the 1998. But as I've said, it's a chance for redemption. It's a chance to get back. And listen, it's not the worst. It's not the worst group, is it?
Gordon, how tough is this going to be?
It's going to be hard. Honestly, it's going to be very hard. Look, Brazil, they know how to do this. They'll probably cope better in the heat than we will. Morocco as well, a very, very good team out of Africa. Pulling Haiti out of pot four, I think that's maybe the saving grace. Obviously, we know that third place teams are going to go through. That's what has to be the focus. You know, we've done this for so long. We've been to so many World Cups, so many Euros. We've never been to the knockout stage of a tournament, and it's the holy grail. It's just waiting for this team to write themselves into legend.
The big question we've heard from so many fans over the past few weeks since Scotland qualified: will you be going to the USA?
Well, I think obviously as we said there, like I was 9 years old and now I'm 36. I'll be 37 by the time next summer rolls round. It's not too much to say this is a once in a lifetime opportunity to go see Scotland at a World Cup. So I think once the schedule comes out tomorrow, you've got to have a look. You might cry a little bit when you see the price of flights and accommodation, but it's a once in a lifetime chance. You've got to try. You've got to go.
Blair, will you be going?
I booked my flight yesterday. I'm off. I'm going to Orlando, so I'm going to go and stay with my friend. He's over on a football scholarship over there, so I'm going to get a few days rest up, and it'll be Scotland mode. Listen, I was never missing out on this. I've waited my whole lifetime for this. You've seen it during the Denmark game. I've only seen my dad cry twice, and the second time it was at Hampden Park. I mean, that says something in itself, you know. Incredible time, and there's no way I'm missing out on it. And so many others will be joining us. Money replaces, memories don't.
And how special to experience all of this with Scotland right now. It's like you say, kind of a once in a lifetime, but it's so special to be a part of.
I think as well, like just when you look at football nowadays, like international football is one of the most purest and romantic forms of the game. These moments when like a country does something well, you saw it against Denmark, the entire country, whether you've been following the team for 50 years or 5 minutes, you all get to enjoy it together. And I think for me, that's always been the most beautiful thing of international football. So moments like next summer when we all come together and we celebrate a World Cup together will just be incredibly special. So I can't wait.
Gordon, Blair, thank you very much for joining us tonight. You can see behind us just how much the fans are loving this tonight. Scotland drawn in Group C, Brazil, Morocco and Haiti.
Iona, for the moment, thank you very much. Iona Ballantyne in Glasgow there. So, they're buzzing in Scotland. England fans, this is who you will see in the World Cup next year. England, Croatia, first game, 17th of June. Ghana and Panama. That is Group L.
A number of points from the home games was a damning stat. The other thing over their last 5 matches, they've drawn 3 of their last 5. Forest, Spurs and tonight. And they've been ahead in each of those games.
Well, he's clearly frustrated, the manager there. He's showing it with his answers. He's short and sharp. And yeah, that'll be concern from the last few games and the performances. Again, even the Spurs game wasn't great. So yeah, he obviously didn't even give Dalot credit for the goal. A decent first touch, decent finish. So that, again, that's the word tonight after the game when you thought you had an opportunity to get the feel-good factor, get some momentum into the season. We see how tight the table is. A lot of teams inconsistent. United had a chance, a little bit, just to put a little marker down to say, listen, yeah, we can win these. We win these type of games we're expected to win. Obviously, all the other games happened the last couple of nights, so spotlight was on United tonight. Get that win, go up to 5th in the league. They couldn't take it.
Especially, you know, see the narrative now. You know what I mean? Now we are talking, they are talking. Everybody will be talking tomorrow and day after tomorrow and whatever about not enough points, again bad run, whatever. So during the game, it's also the reason why they should have been double focus. Everybody, you know what I mean? To stop, to give more. I'm saying again the same point. for me, I didn't see enough of them that they were willing to do everything, to die for 3 points tonight. With the greatest respect to West Ham, they deserve it, but they wanted, but United didn't do enough after they scored the first goal.
And usually, if you think when teams come to United about if you're trying to get a good result, we look at Everton. We focus on the last couple of home games. I bet you Everton and West Ham have gone off the pitch and thought that wasn't too bad. Yeah. That we at least put demands on them physically, technically. United didn't. Again, I think United give these teams a lot of hope now, and I think the biggest insult you can have, I think, as a player, particularly for United, is I still think they're quite easy to play against. Exactly. Even the last 10 or 15 minutes, where's the aggression, where's the fouls? Even if United think, well, one's enough, slow the game down. If you think we don't have that belief to go and get the second and third goal, again, we go back to the Palace, find a way to win, grind out a result. So we're sitting here tonight, and if they win 1-0, it was a bad game, it was a poor game, but they won 1-0. So there's a thumbs up for that. But instead, the word everyone's going to be using the next few days, again, the manager used it, frustration.
So how much different are these kind of discussions this season to last season for you? How much different are these performances? Was last year just terrible and calamitous, but this is kind of, as we said earlier, just a bit and they're missing opportunities, or is it similar to last season?
No, I think it is. Well, it couldn't get any worse than last year.
Yeah.
I still think United are definitely more of a goal threat. The stats will tell you that. We've not seen it tonight or the last home game, but you still think 2 at Palace, 2 at Spurs, 2 at Forest. You still think there's more goals in the team, and there is. But there's still that for the attack and threat they have. Again, we've not seen it really tonight. I still think defensively and midfield, I have huge question marks over them. I still would look at them going, I wouldn't trust or believe in this team that they can get results when they need it. Like tonight again, it was this opportunity.
Especially when they...
and you go 1-0 up, by the way.
Arsenal. They're not Arsenal, or they're not all Juventus. They're not Atletico Madrid, that are so solid that is
They've got one clean sheet this season.
No. We were talking about, you said the best thing about United nowadays, or this season, is that you see goals in them. So United, to win a game, usually needs a couple of goals, to score. So you can't rely, we scored the goal, it's enough. West Ham will never score, because they are very likely to concede a goal. And that's their problem. And that's, I don't know why they stopped. The only way you can control the game, Dalot and the manager were talking, and that's true, about we didn't control the game. The only way you're going to control the game when you are 1-up is by keeping the ball, having the ball in your position, but on their part of the pitch, far away from your goal, and then you can stop them from doing something. But if you let them winning second balls, if you don't have a ball anymore long enough, and the people are, at least they're going to have a corner.
Yeah, but you can also control the game without having possession. So if United were strong enough mentally to sit back in and go, West Ham, you need to go.
But they're not solid team.
That's what I'm saying.
They are not that.
But if they had that about them going, well, we don't need to have possession, we can control it and sit back in. And you know what happens then, West Ham? If you do give it back to us, I tell you, we're going to get at you. We've got to get a pace, we've got to get a bit of power for it. But they ended up in no man's land. They didn't control the ball. The game became stretched, and you just, again, we're watching it, and that's why I'm looking at the players. You have a feeling going, I think something might happen here. I don't know how the players don't feel that. They must do. And that's where you show your quality. That's why you're at a club, and that's why they're on big wages, big transfer, because there's an expectation there. You have to deal with that.
Yeah, but for that you need to have that. It's like all the Italian teams. Like for that you need Barzagli, Bonucci, and Chiellini in a box, and you can make as many crosses as you want, but they're gonna head it out.
And they'll enjoy that.
I'm not talking the quality of the players, but Shaw, Yoro, and Mazraoui are not that kind of the players.
But if United if United don't feel tonight they can get the second and third goal, just get everyone back then. Just defend.
But but West Ham didn't score from counter-attack. West Ham didn't score like when they were 3 against 2 or 5 against 4. If you sit back, then you're going to give them corners. You're going to give them corners. And
no, but the other side of that, but if you do lose it, you go at Adams. You kind of beat them in a different way on the counter-attack.
Yes, all right.
By having less
still,
possession, show your quality in that sense. Again, when people talk about control of the game, people, that means you have to dominate possession. You don't have to dominate possession. We've seen some of the best teams in the world have less possession, and they suck teams on. So West Ham had to chase the game. So you sit in, and then you've got really good attacking players. You go, lads, you show your quality when we get it. But they didn't end up in, again, no man's land.
But then to protect the manager, a little bit, to be fair, is like we are talking about, do they have any options up front? And if Cunha came back from the injury, right? So maybe he couldn't last for more than 70 minutes or 75 or whatever. But apart from Mason Mount...
Attacking options, yeah, it was not great.
Apart from Mason Mount, you have a feeling like
they have
they have 3 or 4 injured players.
Yeah.
But only Šeško is missing.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean?
And then when Mount,
what about the squad?
And then when the players come off the bench, you're hoping the players will obviously bring something to the party. I think the players that came onto United, they seem to lose the momentum with the subs.
But the other thing on Slaven's point about the sort of lack of attacking options on the bench, but only Šeško is out injured, in a few weeks' time, they'll lose Mbeumo, they'll lose Ahmad. I know Mazraoui is a defender, but really from those, from that right flank tonight, they're off to AFCON.
Yeah, but the manager's obviously aware of that. That's something they'd have to get prepared for. But when you look at the squad, considering the money that's been spent over the last few years, yeah, they do lack strength and depth, particularly from the attacking options. Again, when you're trying to see a game off tonight, and even when Mason Mount came on, I look at Mount when he comes on sometimes, and I know sometimes players seem to take longer to get up to speed than others. I felt he was like a kind of a schoolboy out there. You're looking for players to come on with a bit of presence and go, yeah, give me the ball, I'm a sub, I'll give you a brilliant lance, 20, 25 minutes. If anything, they brought the levels down at United. That seemed to be the case tonight.
Especially when he scored in the last game, you know what I mean? So he should be on it, he should be positive and everything. Here, you're on the stage for 20 minutes, we are 1 up, so don't have to do anything spectacular, but keep the ball there, get us some free kicks, corners, whatever, this and that. I don't know.
I wouldn't compare it to sort of when Alan Shearer was left out by Ruud Gullit all those years ago and it ended up being like a massive clash and one has to go in the end. I'm not sure we're quite at that point, but it does feel that something has to give because there is no way that Mohamed Salah is going to be content being a bit part player in this team. Whether it's in January or whether it's in the summer, if he finds the right clubs, I think he deserves that right to maybe move on if things aren't going to go his way. But I can only see that outcome. I don't see really now that maybe once that trust is broken, especially with someone like Mo, who Daniel would know a lot better than me as a human being, I just feel like he needs that confidence and love from a manager. We all talk about how mentally strong he is, but that feels like it's going to come to a head at some point, Daniel.
Do you think he could leave the club in January?
I'd like to think not. But you never know in football. I'd like to think not. I think he's a player that, has he been performing to the level? We talk about stats, we talk about numbers, and that's what Mo's known for. Has he delivered those this season? No, he hasn't. But nobody else has either.
But you also know how much self-belief this guy has.
Yes.
And he will be hurting, won't he, right now?
Every player that is driven by, goals, assists, and those are individual things, and I'm not suggesting Mo's an individual player, but he wants to be the reason why the team wins. Attackers, typically, are driven that way. It's unique when you have a striker or a winger who doesn't want to be the reason. My job is to score, my job is to assist. That is my job. I want to do that. Mo's delivered that since he's joined the football club. This is the first season where we can question him and go, oh, well, he's not doing this. But I'm not quite sure that Mohamed Salah's the reason why Liverpool aren't. Last season, he was the reason why the team won the league. And now we're quick to question, because we've got Wirtz coming, we've got Isak coming, guys who are young players, top-class players, gonna potentially be world-class. The pair of them, there's no debate in that. I truly believe Ekitike, all the attackers that have Gakpo, this and that. But a man of Mohamed Salah's quality, it hurts me to see. I can tell that, he's not happy, and you wouldn't be because you're used to being the main man. There comes a time in every player's career where managers, owners, and the player have decisions to make. I don't think this is the stage we're at with Mohamed Salah personally. I think the club can turn it around in terms of performances, and I think Mohamed Salah can turn it around in terms of performances. But what I don't want to see is this notion that we're almost pushing Mohamed Salah away because he scored He's the top scorer for the team. Yes, we could say there's a couple of penalties in there and whatever, but nobody's delivering top-level performances for Liverpool this season. If we actually ask those players right now, which one of you believe you've been at the level that you've set yourself and the standards you've set yourself for all these years? I'm not sure one of them can go.
Maybe only Szoboszlai, probably. I don't think there's any.
Yes.
But I'm with you. I think apart from that, Daniel, there's not one play. You could make a case for every player being left out in that side right now. The levels have dropped so significantly, haven't they?
Yeah, the levels have dropped. Look, I truly believe they can come back, though. I'm not suggesting that they can't come back.
Salah, would you be starting him on Saturday at Leeds?
But then, again, I'm not the manager. I can't decide what I believe he would do. I'm saying if you're going to change the formation and play a slightly different form, I would go all the way with it. And I would say, OK, well, let's have a look at Ekitike and Isak up top and see whether that's the answer. If you're going to leave Salah out again, then I will try something different. And I've worked in a number 10 behind them and see if that can open a few doors. We know what Salah can do. Yes, has he been good this season? He hasn't been at his level. Mo knows that. But Mo also knows I'm a top player and I'm prepared to work my socks off to get back to the level that I've been playing at for.
One thing for sure, it didn't work today playing Szoboszlai and Gomez at right back and right midfield. But it might be one where you go to Leeds and be more difficult to beat. If that's what he wants to set his team up. But if you're going there to try and win and you're thinking we need a goal from somewhere and playing in a Liverpool style and making sure that you're on the front foot, then Salah has to start.
Morning's newspapers, and joining us are Riyadh Al Samurai from the Daily Mail and Mark Donaldson from ESPN. Welcome to you both. Now, normally we would cycle through the back pages. We're just going to jump straight into it on a busy night of football, and we're going to start at the top of the Premier League. Arsenal, their win over Brentford. There is a feeling when you watch Arsenal, it's almost of inevitability, Riyadh. Am I jumping too early with that comment?
We're seeing it all season. I mean, this is another one where it was a pretty tough game, and we've certainly last season it would be the game I'd expect them to lose. And there's probably been 3 or 4 occasions this season where I've had the same thought. But they do have that extra resilience to them. They are finding a way. I thought Brentford put up a very good fight this evening, and that was the challenge Arsenal had to come through. Look, they're 5 points clear, unbeaten in 18, 8 clean sheets, and they've somehow discovered the best striker in world football that we never knew existed in Marino. Look, it's coming together. It was a challenging night. I think we've spoken a lot on this show and elsewhere about the depth of Arsenal's squad. We're really seeing it coming to the fore now. I think this was the 4th game in 10 days or something slightly daft like that. They have had a lot of problems with injuries this season, and previously you would expect that to knock them off track, and it hasn't so far. I'm sure we'll talk more about Declan Rice shortly. If you were to try and put a slightly sour point on the night, him coming off of a calf injury is going to be a big concern. He's a massive player for them. We've seen that game in, game out at the moment. And Mosquera as well also came off with an injury. So they do actually have a slight defensive issue there. But currently, we're really scratching around for reasons to add disclaimers to this side. So far they've looked not only the best side in the Premier League this season, they've looked like the best side in Europe, and it's coming from a variety of different styles. They can carve through teams with good attacking football. They've got an incredible defensive record, and we know what they do with set pieces. It's very hard to look at their Arsenal and if you pardon the pun, and see where they're actually lacking at the moment.
Yeah, scratching around for weaknesses. I think you've hit the nail on the head there. But Mark, I'm interested in this because Mosquera was injured tonight. Only a couple of weeks ago, experts were saying the weakness might come is if there was an injury to Gabriel. There has been. He wasn't playing tonight. And then maybe if there was an injury to Declan Rice. And the danger is that both of them now look like they might be injured.
They've changed 3 of their back 4 from the normal one this season if everybody is fit. Gabriel alongside Saliba, Timber at right back, yet they've still kept a clean sheet. So right now we are looking for reasons why they can't rather than reasons why they can. I've commentated a lot on Mosquera when he was at Valencia in La Liga. Nkapie is a superstar as well, coming on loan from Bayer Leverkusen. This is the difference for me from an Arsenal perspective than the one from a few years ago, because now you have really, really good players coming in. Not quite as good as the ones that they're replacing, but good enough to keep a clean sheet, to get all 3 points. You only need to score once when you keep a clean sheet. Arsenal managed to score 2 tonight. And that's why on the back of the Daily Express, you've got guns for hire as Marino and Saka lead the way.
Yeah, and there is no one higher than Arsenal. Rivals around them dropping points. Liverpool are completely out of the equation. But also, you look at the strength in depth, and while Declan Rice and Gabriel may well not be replaceable for what they offer to Arsenal, today on the bench, Riath, Jurriën Timber, Eberechi Eze, Bukayo Saka, Victor Gyökeres, all of them able to come on as second-half substitutes.
Absolutely, and I think there are probably 2 things. I think Arsenal, and this is being a little bit dour about it, I think they do possibly have to have some kind of mild review internally about the volume of muscle injuries, because there's only going to be so many times, even with that squad, that they can rotate themselves out of a difficulty. But they at the moment we are seeing a squad that is unparalleled across the division. I think I'd want to make the point tonight as well about Ben White. He's one of those guys who's been brought in so that they could sort of give Timber a little bit of a rest. I thought he was probably the best player on the pitch, and he was central to that first goal as well. He's obviously a different kind of player to Timber. I think Sam Dean was making the point on social media earlier this evening that also when he plays, he gives Arsenal that slightly different dynamic. He's probably a more natural overlapping right back, and I think that's another possibly underrated aspect of what Arteta's got going for him this season. He can introduce not only high quality players, but entirely different styles of football to go with it. And you know, these results are piling up. I think I made the point in the first answer. This was easily the kind of game that could have got away from Arsenal last season, and probably would have got away from Arsenal last season. But they are able to adapt to that fatigue that we have in December. You know, so they haven't lost a game since August. Whether or not they keep it going, we'll have to wait and see. I think it's a massive game now this weekend against Aston Villa. They're coming up like a steam train. You know, Emery's done a fantastic job there. If you think about what bordered on chaos over the summer, really, around recruitment and whether or not guys like Emi Martinez were going to go, and now they're on a run of 8 wins in 9. That's going to be the huge test for Arsenal. But you know, they all are at this point. Man City are nowhere close to their best, but they're still only 5 points back, and they've got all of that nous about how to get over the line. I wouldn't want to try and quantify what that expertise and experience is worth, but it is going to be worth something, especially when Arsenal are trying to get over this line after whatever it is, 5-6 years of us consistently banging on about their mentality. So that is going to weigh on them at some point. But so far, every hurdle that appears in their path, they're clearing.
Yep, they're clearing, and some of their rivals are not clearing those hurdles. Chelsea were their closest rivals at the weekend. They drew 1-1 in a brilliant game. Chelsea had 10 players, but then this evening, Chelsea beaten 3-1 at Leeds to all of a sudden take a tumble back in the title race, Mark.
Massive result for Leeds. I know you mentioned Chelsea, but it's the inconsistency, and it's the inconsistency that maybe Arsenal had a few years ago. And Mikel Arteta has never finished lower than he did the previous year with Arsenal. Now he's kind of plateaued at second, but he's learning to pick up results when they're not playing well. Riyadh's just spoken about this is a game tonight that in the past they may have struggled with to get all 3 points. They may have played well but not found a way. But from a Chelsea perspective, played really well against Arsenal. However, you've got these I mean, it's a bit like Liverpool right now. It's a team that should be beating sides like Leeds United because they've got better players. But this stage of the season, December time, midweek night, Leeds up for a battle. You've got to be as well if you're Chelsea. That's a massive result for Leeds to get them further away from the foot of the table. But from Chelsea, right now, it's like 2 steps forward, 2 steps back. They need to find that consistency.
Yeah, they certainly do need to find that consistency. Riyadh, what's your hunch when we look at the table? We're more than a third of the way through the season now. Arsenal have this 5-point lead. Where is the main challenge going to come from?
Certainly Manchester City. It's always going to be Manchester City. Their C game is still good enough for top 3 or top 4. Their B game is good enough for second. It's just a case, and I'm reticent to bring it up just on the basis that it has been a very prolonged period now, going all the way back to the Rodri injury last season, since we've seen a Manchester City that we can trust. Now, watching them last night was probably a case in point where, you know, they go and take a very comfortable situation and turn it into a minor drama. Now, they are still Manchester City. They've still got Erling Haaland up front. They've still got incredible quality across the side, and they've got arguably the finest manager that's ever lived in charge of them. So I think 5 points can disappear in a blink, especially given that we know Manchester City have still got 2 gears left to explore this season. Whether or not they do it, I don't know. I have now got increasingly come round to the view that Arsenal will get it done. But look, we're talking in the first week of December here, so it's nigh on pointless to speculate. But I look at that Manchester City team and what they've got in that squad, and they have to be the logical challenger. Liverpool are going absolutely nowhere. Chelsea, I think tonight they've been on excellent form. I've never really known quite what to make of Maresca's side there. It is young. It is therefore inconsistent, as Mark was saying. It's a team that can turn around and bash 7 shades out of Barcelona and then go and lose to Leeds, who are coming in on a 4-game losing run. And people were talking this morning about Daniel Farke losing his job. So, you know, are Chelsea going to be the challengers? Is it Aston Villa? Their squad doesn't, irrespective of the brilliant form they're in, their squad doesn't look like a title contending squad, with the greatest of respect, because I do think Emery's doing a fantastic job. So it is, for me, it's Arsenal, Manchester City. I just would love to be able to quantify exactly what that title winning experience is worth to Man City on the run in, but we're probably 3 or 4 months away from having that conversation in any sort of serious context.
Yeah, if we shift our focus to the other end of the table, it's a big defeat for Chelsea, but it's a huge win, as you mentioned, for Leeds United. But more specifically, Mark, for their manager Daniel Farke, there have been a lot of noise around him. They've got this horrible run of games, and they're into that run of games with a huge victory.
There's such a gap between the top end of the Championship and the lower end of the Premier League. We've seen that the past 2 seasons. The 3 that go up come back down. So why isn't there more patience for the managers who come up with the sides from the Championship? Leeds came up. Yet Daniel Farke, there was talk even before a ball had been kicked, is he the man to even lead Leeds in the Premier League? Does he have that experience? Should we replace him? And yeah, he's had some results of late. They came very close to an excellent win the other day, yet they now have a good win over Chelsea. So what we're doing, we're just parking that speculation about his future until they go on another bad run. There has to be a little bit more patience. He got the team up. Surely he should be rewarded, because yeah, fine, get rid of a manager if you've got someone better to come in, but he knows the players, he knows what makes them stick. And I tell you what, he got a good tune out of that fiddle tonight against Chelsea.
He certainly did. Very, very good win for Leeds United. And at the moment, they're sitting 3 points above the relegation zone, with West Ham yet to play in this midweek game week. Now, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we'll have a lot more of the look at the sports stories in the morning's papers. We'll reflect on the rest of a busy old night in the Premier League. And we'll be talking about Wilfried Nancy, confirmed as the new Celtic head coach. It's all coming up.
Federico Chiesa has been a very good substitute for you in attack a few times this season. But this you're very grateful that he proved very good in defence at one moment at the end there.
Yeah, I think in the final minutes of the game, we were close, in my opinion, to making the 2-1 because we had a few set pieces. Were constantly around their box. They couldn't actually come out of that situation anymore. But then from one of the set pieces, when we brought in the second phase, we brought the ball in and the goalkeeper catched the ball. I looked up and I saw a player of them completely free at the halfway line. The good thing was from Fede that he could have thought, it's nothing for me to do anymore. I'm so far away from the situation, but he kept sprinting. And Ali moved him to the outside, and as a result of that, Fede could clear the ball off the line, which was, I think, the minimum we deserved tonight, and the minimum his effort deserved as well. And I mean with that the draw was the minimum we deserved tonight.
In terms of the performance overall, were you pleased with it, or were you frustrated with the elements of it? How did you
A bit of both. So I knew before the game when you play Sunderland, I think from the 14th game they played now, they've only conceded 4 times more than 1 goal. And in these 4 games, they've only conceded 2. So it's a hard team to score against. It's a hard team to create your chances against because they either go really aggressive in a high press or they have 11 players, 10 outfield players and a goalkeeper who defend their box with their lives. And that's why it's so difficult to create. So in that aspect, I was hoping for more, although I knew how difficult it is to create against them. I think, again, we've hardly conceded. The first big chance of them was, I don't count the shot that hit the bar because that was not a chance. But the first serious chance was from a set piece that hit the post. And then their goal is, in my opinion, not even a chance. If that is a chance, we've probably had 20 chances tonight. But unfortunately, a deflection led to going 1-0 down. And then recently, in our recent games, we found it really hard to get the equalizer, although we had our chances every time. But today, we had a little bit of luck with scoring the 1-1, because that was also deflection. For me, different, because that's a shot from 8, 9, 10 yards. So that's at least a serious chance, where a shot from 20 yards isn't. A serious chance, opportunity, but not a serious chance. So a bit of both. Bruce?
Silvers seemed to grow in confidence as the second half went on. Do you think that his third match without a win here at Anfield, do you think that Anfield is losing its sort of fear factor?
No, not Anfield, for sure. But it's clear that teams that play us now think they can get a result. Not only think, because that's been shown this season. And even in the games we've won, I think there also we fueled the confidence for other teams, like, there's something possible, but because the wins we had in the beginning of the season weren't easy ones as well. I don't completely agree with you that they grew into the game, because I think throughout the whole second half there was only one team that had the ball and only one team that was playing on one half. But yeah, if they got a free kick off the referee or they had a goal kick, they could bring it to our half with a long ball, and we had to defend 3 or 4 times a set piece and throw in and a corner kick. And of course, that is a danger with them, because they've shown this season that they are a threat in set pieces. The good thing for us is we didn't concede from a set piece. Maybe as a result of that we got at least a point.
As well as you prepared for them and seen their success, did they do anything that surprised you?
No, they didn't do anything that surprised me. No. Like I said, we know that they can press really high and defend with 11 players around their box, and that is what many teams do in the Premier League. And that's the minimum you need to do, defend with 11 players, because this league has become so strong that it's very hard not to defend with 11 players. No.
Hi. The goals one you scores was very similar to the one Caicedo scores at Chelsea. When defending that, do you want to place the boats of the ball, or would you rather you drop off with the XG flowing to keep my wheels for you save?
I think in the first instance, when they have the ball free on 30, 35 yards away from your goal, it's smarter to take away the space, because if you step out as a centre-back or in a different position, the other team tries to exploit that space. So first take away the space, but at a certain moment you move forward to the ball, which I think is what Virgil tried, and unlucky enough of a deflection, and I've seen so many deflected shots on the other end. Where one of them led to a goal as well. But yeah, we were again unlucky that from the few chances we've conceded a goal.
The last one.
I just said that they can change it up. Sorry for the sick, but it's not a bad play to say 3-1. Was it tactical or was Cody carrying him?
In my opinion, Cody struggled to dominate the 1v1s. If you want to have any chance against, like I said, they were pressing high, but also in multiple situations they were in a low block, then the way to score is quite simple. You need a moment of magic from a player, or you need a set piece to score. And I felt in the first half that Cody struggled to find that moment, because it was hard for him to dominate the 1v1 that or get crosses in. So I thought and in the first half we played with Szoboszlai off the right to be defensively strong enough not to concede as much as we did in the last few weeks. So I changed it to Mo on the right side and then play with a midfielder, Florian Wirtz, off the left. Like I said, we hardly conceded, but it was throughout the whole game difficult to create that moment of magic. And from the set pieces we had, unfortunately, we were once close. I think it was Maka in the first half with the post from a set piece, if I'm correct. But yeah, we had enough, especially in the end of the second half, but didn't score.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, who wants to get us underway?
Yeah.
Nizar?
And I was wondering where do you think that performance came from? Because I sort of felt like you were in amazing form, and then today I didn't see the team that I saw in the last two games.
Yeah, no, I think they were better than us in all the aspects. They deserve to win the game. There is nothing that we can take from this game. The only thing we can do is try to understand the mistake we have done, try to reset, because again, in 48 hours we have one more game.
What do you think happened though between the Arsenal game and today?
No, but it's not because we perform so well against Arsenal or so well against Barcelona or so well the last month that we are going to perform always in the same way. For different reasons, it's not possible because situation that you have to manage, players that you have to rotate. So for sure, for different reasons, the level is not going to be always the same. When you come here, but at home away against any team, if you don't perform 100%, Premier League is tough against any team.
Simon?
Enzo, to appreciate what you're saying, does it sometimes confuse you where this kind of performance comes from after watching the last two games? And does it sort of emphasise how this team can't really be trusted yet to be title contenders when they keep throwing in this odd performance every now?
No, for sure. When you play, again, the last two games against Barcelona and Arsenal, you expect better performance, no doubt. But for many reasons, it's not going to be possible for every game, again, because we change players, because we have players that we said many times that for them it's not possible to play every 2-3 days. And when you change players, also the level drop is the reality, because they are important players for us, but they can be important players for any team. Moy, Reece, West, these kind of players. But we cannot use them every game. It's impossible, because otherwise they can get injury again and be out for month and month and month.
Is there a concern then that the players that are coming in for them have got to do more in that regard?
I think tonight the game there is no one that was at his level or best level. I think all the teams, all the one probably Pedro second half, Garner second half, they were our best players because after we scored the goal, we had two chances with Cole and with Joao, but then the third goal, I think, killed the game.
Dom?
You say that Leeds were better in more aspects to that. You say that we'll go away and look at that. Your initial assessments as to why they're playing for it?
Say again, sorry.
What are your initial assessments as to why they're playing for it? Why the Leeds are better, as you said?
Hopefully, I hope that we had a bad night because it's a game that you struggle to find something that you can take from the game. I think, again, they were on the ball, off the ball, duels, second ball. They were much better than us in all the aspects.
Not to suggest that this is the only reason why you lost. Do you feel that you may have lacked or missed, what is this guy saying today? Because he provides that link to the centre-backs. He offers an option. Of course, it's such a good tackler and interceptor. Do you feel you missed it today?
But I think, again, we miss Moy tonight. We're going to miss Moy in the next game. It's an important player. In the same way, even if the results, they were different, but in the same way we miss Cole, in the same way we miss players that for us are important. Moy is a player that for us is an important player for any team in the world because he's top.
Mike?
Enzo, with the half-time substitution, were you protecting Estevao? Do you think he might get a red card playing 45 minutes on the yellow?
Yeah, I think the feeling with Estevao was, a little bit welcome to Premier League, welcome to Leeds. The impact for him has been probably big impact for him. And the reason why we changed him is because he was already yellow card. And, sometimes with 18, you struggle also to manage emotion. So it was better to change him and to avoid any red card.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Just quickly,
On this show, we are going to start with Liverpool. Let's hear now from Arneslot on Mohamed Salah's reaction to being dropped against West Ham.
That's a normal reaction from a player that's good enough to play for us. And then I say it mildly because he's been so outstanding for this club for so many years and will be for us in the future. So yeah, of course a player isn't happy he's not playing. He wasn't the only one who wasn't happy that he wasn't starting. I can tell you, and that's normal. But the way he behaved was as you would expect from a professional he is. But he was very supportive for his teammates, handled himself really well during the day and yesterday in the session as well. So you cannot be a player that's available every 3 days and play on that high standards if you go with your emotions. But for Mo, he's so disciplined, knows what to do to stay fit, and no matter if he plays well, doesn't play well, if he plays or if he doesn't play, he will always be that top professional, and that's what he was in the last 2 days.
The reality is he is a human being. Do we have to remember that sometimes?
Fortunately, for the time I've been here, I didn't have to remember you to that because he's been a super human being. But as all players around the world, there are also faces in your time at the club that you are human, is the way you put it. And but yeah, he scored so many goals for us, and I'm sure he will in the future.
Right, OK, Jamie O'Hara, what did you make of Liverpool on Sunday? They got that vital win at West Ham.
Yeah, look, they needed a win. I don't think they were amazing. I thought it was workmanlike. They got the job done. They were a bit more compact. I think Joe Gomez coming back into the side gave them a bit more of a defensive stability. Players playing in a position where they should be playing. Look, West Ham were poor. I didn't think West Ham were great at all. It was a West Ham performance that I was expecting to see, and Liverpool got it done. Are they blowing up any trees? No, of course they're not. But they need to pick up results, and they needed a win, and they got one. A clean sheet, 2 goals. Isak scores. You know, it calms things down a little bit. It's a long way to go to get back to where they need to, but maybe it's a step in the right direction.
They got a win without starting Mo Salah. Arneslot said he wasn't happy to be dropped. That's understandable.
Yeah.
Do you think he'll be back in, or do they stick with this winning team?
Well, if he rotates and he'll have to look at the squad of players, they've got a huge amount of games coming now.
Sunderland tomorrow night at home and Leeds at the weekend away.
Yeah. So look, you know, he will feature. Of course he will. Is he the player who starts week in, week out for Liverpool right now? I'd probably say no. His performances this season have been poor. And the problem is he's got such high standards of where he's been. And everything about Liverpool over the last 6-7 years has been about feeding Mo Salah to score goals. I think, you know, with the players that they've brought in and the style of football that they're trying to play, probably doesn't suit Mo Salah. And I think maybe there's, you know, now you're looking at it where he might have to be left out for some games. Of course he will feature, and of course he'll score goals. Does he have to be the main man, the star player in that team, you know, every week? I don't, you know, he's getting older, and maybe his levels have dropped off a bit. They've got some brilliant players that they've brought in, and they're trying to gel them all together. I think it's all been about Mo Salah over the last 6 years, and now I think it's changed. I think it's got to be a team collective. I think he's going to carry on getting dropped. I do. I think at the moment, Liverpool are probably better without Mo Salah in the team.
Sky Sports are partnered with Finalysis, an app where passionate fans share their opinions on their club. If you want to represent your club, you can visit the Sky Sports app for more details, or you can scan the QR code on your screen now. We're joined by Liverpool fan Peter Bolster. Peter, good morning to you. Now, I don't know if you were watching yesterday, but our Liverpool fan guest we had on yesterday, Montel, said it was time for Slot to go now. So before we ask you about that, let's remind you of what he said.
I'm aware that we're not a sacking club, and I don't believe we're going to sack the manager, but that doesn't mean he deserves to be staying at the club right now. With a club like Liverpool and what we're doing and the money he's been given, last season, I'm not erasing history or anything like that. I'm very thankful with the manager, but at this point in time, he's removed us from the title race. We're looking poor in the Champions League. We have no style of play. The players look dejected. Some of the losses and the way we've lost, and it's not just all on the manager, it's all on the players as well.
Right, Peter, is that the general feeling around Anfield?
No, certainly not. I don't think any Liverpool fans would like to see Arneslot leave. If you keep losing week in, week out, then obviously you're going to be concerned for the manager because you can't be in free fall. We've stopped the rot at the moment, so no, but I don't believe that's the case. And like he pointed out, that Liverpool are not a sacking club.
Jamie, what do you think?
Well, it's interesting because, look, I hear you, but I don't know if I see a real way out of this for Arne Slot. Like, Liverpool spent a lot of money and the team's got a gel and it hasn't quite happened. You're going to pick up wins because you've got great players, right? But do I see Liverpool getting back to the top, winning the Premier League, getting back there with Arne Slot? I don't know. I'm not sure. Like, I don't agree with sacking him right now, but do I see a real future with Arne Slot where Liverpool are going to be dominating and they're going to be up there? I'm not sure I am. I'm not sure the identity and the players that you brought in, I can see that with him.
Well, the thing is, though, you're never going to see that. And I share that opinion that you've got, Jamie, because if you lose 9 out of 12 games, what it was before Sunday, you're never going to have a good feeling about winning the league in the coming seasons. That's not going to happen. But at the same time, Liverpool have only got 2 less wins than Arsenal. They've only got 1 less win than Manchester City. They're level of wins with Chelsea. So Liverpool are winning football matches this season. And sometimes it's not as bad as you think it is. The recruitment that you're talking about, well, that's where Arne Slot's getting a lot of the blame. He's like the lightning rod for what's gone on at the club. Well, I'm not entirely sure. If you look back over the history of the football, history of FSG, that it's been a transfer committee, so Arne Slot can't be making all of those decisions. And for me, it looks like the summer transfer business is unfinished. Now, we all looked at it and said, oh, we spent a hell of a lot of money, but we've not replaced Luis Diaz, and we never brought in Mark Gahey. So if you would sign 2 more players, how would the balance of the squad look then?
If a lot of being made about this 3-game run West Ham away, Sunderland at home, and Leeds away. Now, how many points would you expect from those 3 games? Is it the maximum 9? Is it 7, like Jamie Carragher said? And you have got 3 points on the board already.
For me, I would definitely say in the past and before this run, I'd say 9 points. You've got to beat all of those 3 clubs with all due respect. But 7 points from where we've come from is perfectly fine, and I think that's the minimum requirement.
It's got to be 9. Like, I don't know why Liverpool are lowering their expectations. Like Liverpool.
But Jamie, what's our objective now?
Well, you got top 4 minimum.
If the so 7 points would get us top 4. So if you got 7 points over the course of 3 games from the,
I hear what you're saying, but why is the expectations and where you expect the club to be changed? You're playing West Ham, Sunderland, and Leeds.
Yeah.
Every season, regardless of how the club feels, it should be right 9 points. 9 points minimum.
But top 4 sides don't win every game. So if we're only a top 4 side, now you've just said yourself about arneslot and about the team being unbalanced. Until Liverpool rectify that in the transfer market, we're not going to be winning every game. Now, I'm not saying Liverpool won't beat Sunderland tomorrow night or they won't beat Leeds, but what my expectation is, what my minimum standard is, would be 7 points.
I don't know, I feel like...
I'll be honest with you, Jamie, I'm still disappointed with that. So I know what you're saying, and I share that. I'm disappointed of saying it's 7 points. But I think, as Liverpool fans, from where we've been over the last few weeks, we can't be losing our minds after getting 7 points out of 9, after we've just been beaten 9 out of 12.
I suppose it would be an upturn in form, I suppose, is what... It just feels understand what Peter's saying.
It just feels crazy to think that they've dropped off so much that it's almost like they're accepting being average, or look, winning, getting 7 points ain't average, of course, but the Liverpool side that I'm watching and I think I can still watch is a team that's that goes to these places, gets results, win games, puts teams to the sword. I know it's not difficult in the Premier League; it's hard, but I just feel like don't lower the levels of where Liverpool have been. You've been up there at the top for years. And the expectation, and now we've had a bad month or a couple of months, whatever, with arneslot, and it ain't been great. I get that, but don't then bring the expectation levels down to be like, oh yeah, we'll take this. No, you've got to still be like, we're going to be the best side in the country, and we're going to get back to beating Arsenal.
Yeah. Liverpool haven't got low expectations. We still believe that we can win the Champions League. Okay, so the fact is that if Liverpool finish this season in the top 4, qualify for the Champions League next season and win the Champions League, it's a great season. I'm still got my eye in the FA Cup as well. I would still have my eye in the League, but we threw that away a little bit. So no, I don't think Liverpool fans have low expectations. It's just if we bring the context of what Jamie Carragher said, is that losing 9 and 12 and Liverpool being in free fall, the minimum requirements for arneslot to stay in the job would be to have 7 points. So I think that's where I'm at as well.
Okay, so actually, you would change your mind in terms of arneslot if you don't get 4 points from these next 2 games, then?
I think it's about putting a performance in and a bit of identity. So I think I agree with Jamie earlier again. I can't believe how much I'm agreeing with you, Jamie, to be honest with you. But
it's not often.
On Sunday, I don't think Liverpool were great, but what they did was they were defensively solid. They were professional. It was a really professional performance. West Ham done nothing. I was really disappointed with them as well, to be honest with you. It was a boring 2-0 win, and it's exactly what we needed. A clean sheet, 3 points on the board, and then you move on to the next game. I think Liverpool have been going a little bit too much at times of trying to play the football that we want to play, and it hasn't worked. And you're playing 3 centre-halves in the back 4, really solidified what we needed to do.
Yeah, well, I was going to ask.
Would it change my mind? Would it change my mind? I think if Liverpool was to get beaten 3-0 against Sunderland at home, like they did against Nottingham Forest, I think we'd all be scratching our head a little bit, thinking, well, where do we go from here?
I am going to ask you about Joe Gomez in a minute at right back, but with Salah, what would you do right now? You did win without him, but you have just said that West Ham were poor on the day. Would you bring him back in? Because after a while, the decision will be taken out of your hands when he goes to Africa Cup of Nations.
For me, why did you give him a new contract? If you give him a new contract to play him in this team, not for the future, because he's getting older and older. So whatever the recruitment policy was, in the summer, it was to work with Mohamed Salah, it was to work with Virgil van Dijk. this isn't a long-term plan. So for me, he has to come back in for what he's done for the club. And the only thing I'd say is as well is that for him to be the main man over the last 6 years, I don't think that's always been accurate, because the front three were the main men. So you had Bobby Firmino and you had Sadio Mane. Over the last couple of seasons, the recruitment policy hasn't been good enough, so we've been reliant on Mohamed Salah. So every time Liverpool dip in form, he gets the blame. And I think it's unfair that he gets the blame, because if he doesn't score, everyone's saying, well, it's Mohamed Salah's fault. There are two other centre-forwards up there, and Alexander Isak, as good as his goal was the other day, that was his first goal in the Premier League this season. So for me, if Salah would have played against West Ham, he probably would have scored. Liverpool still probably would have won. It's Joe Gomez coming in, and Liverpool showing a mature performance is the reason why we won the game, not because of Salah.
Yeah, because we have actually talked on this show quite a bit about why Joe Gomez isn't getting a chance. Now, admittedly, we're mainly saying why wasn't he getting a chance at centre-back when Konate was out of form. But how did he do at right-back for you, and does he keep his place regardless of when the others come back?
I think as long as he's fit, yeah, I think he definitely keeps his place, because he brings a little bit more balance to the side. He's an experienced footballer. The problem is he's been getting injections in his knee, and that was his first Premier League start for 11 months. So it's very easy to say, oh, let's play him and play him and play him. I just don't know if his body can withstand the pressure of the Premier League. But if it could, yeah, I'd definitely have him starting for the foreseeable future.
BBC has done an investigation around social media posts on a specific weekend, the game against Tottenham. I think, given the extreme reactions that you get to defeat and victory at this club and every other club, it's not a surprise to know that managers, yourself, Premier League managers, women's managers, get a lot of this abuse. Could you just explain from your perspective how you deal with that and what that feels like, and how you think about dealing with that in terms of your family as well?
First of all, nowadays is normal in any profession. When you are exposed like we are exposed, it's harder. But I don't read it. I'm not fake it. I don't read it. I protect myself. Everything that I don't watch TV when they are talking about Manchester. Not because I don't agree. Most of the times I agree with a lot of things that you say, guys. But it's a way of me being healthy. Because it's enough when we lose, when we draw, when I know that we play bad, my feeling as a coach is enough. I don't need another feelings about around the club. So for me, the only way, there is no other way. The only way is protect myself. Of course, I lose money in sponsors, in Instagram. I could win a lot of money, but for me, the quality of life, the protection of my family, the way I can live a normal life, because I guarantee you I live a normal life, is not worth it. Some more dollars or pounds is not worth it. So I protect myself, and no one can be tougher than me when we lose and when we lose when we don't play well. So that is the only way, but it's normal nowadays. It's really normal to have that abuse. So that's, for me, it's the only way to survive in this world.
Hi, we've seen Matheus Cunha is in training. I presume he's fit for tomorrow. And what's the rest of the squad looking like?
We have 2 doubts for the game. I will not tell you today because we'll change the way we are going to approach. Let's see if they can play tomorrow. But the rest of the squad is good. Matheus is back, but I have 2 players that maybe they cannot play. Harry Maguire is still out. And Sesko, yes.
Just on Matheus Cunha, obviously this was a frustrating setback. What have you made of his start, and how many more levels has he got to go?
I think he has more levels to go. He's in the different club, different pressure, but I think he coped with that really well. He was struggling because he was not scoring, and because of social media abuse. He was thinking too much about the numbers, but the influence that he has in the team is so important for us. But I think Cunha has so much to grow defensively and offensively.
Hi Ruben. Lenny looked a bit upset when he came off on Sunday. Just wondered, first of all, how is he? But then also saw Mason Mount after the game comfort him a little bit. So what does that also say about the culture and maybe how close the group are becoming?
It's really important. Of course, I also spoke with him because he thinks too much. He makes some mistakes in the game and then he struggles because he's too young and he wants to do everything so well. And he's growing. He's growing in one moment that everyone here is growing with games, with setbacks. So it's not easy for him as a young guy. Of course, he cannot give that to the people the way he came to the bench. So he understands that, but he was really frustrated. On the good side, he shows that he cares, and he was knowing that it was not the best game, but he did some things well, and I show him that also. So he's fit and ready for the next challenge.
I know we've asked you a few times about Shea Lacey, and it seems like he could be getting closer potentially to a debut. You've talked a lot about the players playing for Manchester United, the pressure it comes with. Just wonder how ready do you think he is for that kind of limelight, and how do you prepare young players for that attention that they'll receive once they start playing in the
First of all, trying to explain every day how to play, because if you are comfortable in the way, you have no many doubts when you are playing. That will help the kids to play. Then is to work the physicality, to understand that when he's training with us, give him time with us, to understand that the speed of the pressure, the moment to have the ball, to pass the ball is completely different if you compare to under 21. So that is the only way that I know how to prepare a kid to play for the club, especially for this club. So we'll have to go there to have the chance. I don't know when, but he's ready to play.
Ruben, the next challenge is West Ham, and Nuno has recently gone in there. What have you made of what he's done and the changes he's made, and what kind of challenge do you face?
I had no doubts that he would have success, no matter what the club. He is really experienced. He knows how to work with different squads. He understands really well the league, and that is a plus when you are a manager. We know that he's going to be tough. He's really smart preparing the games, understanding the environment of the game, who has more responsibility. All these things around the game is really good on that. But I expect I'm just more focused. Of course, the preparation is about the opponent, but I'm really focused on what we need to do, what we need to improve, especially if you look at our first half against Crystal Palace. So it's going to be a tough match.
Can I ask you about Diogo, his role in the team this season? Him is playing in your squad. What's he bringing to you? What can he do better?
I think he can do a lot of things like other players better. I think when you see a very good game of Diogo, he can show that he has the quality, and sometimes he drops a little bit. But if you look at our team, everyone is a little bit like that. He's really powerful. He's good on set pieces, and you have to understand that in this league is really important. He can play both sides. It depends on what you want, the system that you are going to face, and to have that ability of playing both sides, changing position during the game, that can help you also to think about the squad for the league. So it's one player. He's international, always playing for National League. So it's a very important player for us, but he needs to improve like any other player.
It was massive for Liverpool to try and get back on track. Result in midweek, lacklustre performance, and go to West Ham, where it could be a situation that everybody knows about the stadium at West Ham. It's not great. Fans are miles away from the pitch. So that was almost one where Liverpool went and done what they needed to do. Did they play brilliantly? No. Did they need to? Again, no. but they got the job done. And listen, they got the 3 points, and the big summer signing has got his first Premier League goal.
How relieved will he be? I mean, as a striker, what's that like? You're under pressure.
He's under pressure. Listen, we've constantly talked about it. He's got the big price tag over his head, and that's nothing on him. But he'll be delighted to get his first goal. But I just feel like he's still not to his best. Like you said, he's getting there, but he's still not to. Like I see his movement in the first half. Both teams were poor in the first half, but one of the ones where he should have went to the front post and his timing run round the back, it was just the wrong movement. And then for his goal, actually, he doesn't really move. The ball goes wide, he watches play go, and all the West Ham defenders just retreat back to the 6-yard box. And if you have a look, he's got a circle of space on his own, and it's a wonderful finish for him.
Okay, Wiertz's performance, was it better for you?
Yeah, it was better, but he was a stand-up performer on the pitch because there wasn't much quality on the pitch from both sides, really. But look, he's showing improvements. He's building himself back into the game. He's getting that in that free role. And it's easy to say Salah wasn't playing, so it freed up Florian Wirtz, but ultimately his performances have got to be better and continue to improve. And with Salah in the team, it can only make him better.
So you're right, there was no Salah. Let's hear from Arneslot on that.
It's every time when we play a game, when I don't play Florian Wirtz, when I don't play Alexander Isak, when I don't play Keane, when I don't play Mo Salah, it's about that, which is normal because they're all outstanding players, and Mo has had an unbelievable career here at this club and will have a very good future at this club. Because he's such a special player. 4 games in 10 days with only 14 to 15 outfield players available for us. Then you have to decide once in a while to make a certain lineup, and you try to pick the best lineup for every single game. But like I said, he's been so important for this club and will be important for this club in the future.
So were they better without him?
Well, they won, but it's not saying because they didn't have Salah, they wouldn't. Like if Salah was playing, they wouldn't have won. Both teams wasn't great. Liverpool was just better on the day. The performances was what it is. You have to respect what he says. If he doesn't play Wirtz, if he doesn't play Isak, and he doesn't play Salah, that's the biggest talking point. This is gone there. They've won a game of football without him playing. They move on a game midweek. You have to respect. He's the manager. He's the one in charge. Like I say, everybody will question him whether he picks him or he don't. If they don't win games with him, the answer why are you still playing him? And if they win when they haven't got him, why isn't he playing? Well, he was asking me the same question. I just feel like he's in a lose-lose, but ultimately he's thinking we've got the squad, so we need to go and we need to use the squad. Not be dependent on just one player, but we need to use the squad because there's loads of games coming up.
Well, yeah, games coming up. It's Sunderland on Wednesday at home, then Leeds away at the weekend. Now, when you take in the West Ham game, Jamie Carragher said it needs to be a minimum of 7. Jay Bothroyd was sat there on Friday and said it has to be all 9. Do you expect them to get all 9?
Yeah, but that's respectfully to Sunderland Leeds. You've got the 3 on the board. And I'm more in Jay Bothroyd's camp than was Jamie Carragher. You're saying, 7 points. Well, why? West Ham are not exactly lighting it up, are they? So you expect Liverpool there to go and win. You expect them to beat Sunderland, you expect them to beat Leeds. So now they need to go and make it 9 out of 9. And that will help Liverpool basically go forward and improve. And if the centre-forward can continue on his goal-scoring run now and really kick on, who knows what Liverpool can do.
Well, Sky Sports are partnered with Finalysis, an app where passionate fans share their opinions on their club. If you want to represent your club, scan the QR code here or visit the Sky Sports app for more details. Joining us now is Liverpool supporter Montel Bowen. Good morning, Montel. There was a huge call from Arneslot to drop Mo Salah. What did you think at the time, and were you better without him?
No, it was probably the right call. I think him and Cody Gakpo probably didn't deserve to start any more games going forward if it was my choice. But Cody obviously went and got the goals. And I don't think the whole thing about whether we're better than with Salah or not, I agree with Charlie. I just think that we're going too far with it. It's West Ham away, and a very poor West Ham away. Like, I personally think we would have won this game anyways. It's more Joe Gomez why we came in and kept a clean sheet. And Liverpool have too much quality not to score goals. So we're always going to get 1 or 2 goals here or there. Yes, in the extreme situation, we haven't scored much in the last 3 games, but that's down to the manager who probably shouldn't be at this club at the moment. So
but Montel,
there's nothing to look into.
The manager shouldn't be at the club at the moment, did you say?
No.
Slot?
No. Only Slot, no.
You want him out now?
Out of his depth, yeah. I don't want him at the club. He's out.
Montel, come on. But you can't be... What are we on about here? You can't be serious.
I am. I'm serious. What, Charlie? What's our style of play?
Montel, the way Liverpool play the 4-3-3, get it forward, get in the wide. They're adapting to playing with a number 9. Like Liverpool haven't played with a number 9 for years, let alone him and them players How can you now, all of a sudden, because it isn't going right, manager's got to go? Liverpool are not a sacking club. They don't sack managers for no reason.
I'm aware that we're not a sacking club, and I don't believe we're going to sack the manager. But that doesn't mean he deserves to be staying at the club right now. But with a club like Liverpool and what we're doing and the money he's been given, last season, I'm not erasing history or anything like that. I'm very thankful with the manager. But at this point in time, he's removed us from the title race. We're looking poor in the Champions League. We have no style of play. The players look dejected. Some of the losses and the way we've lost, and it's not just all on the manager, it's all on the players as well. Sorry, a lot of it is on the players in terms of Van Dijk. The way he was jogging back is completely unacceptable. Mo Salah, the way he was jogging back is completely unacceptable. I've seen multiple players, and I can go on. But there is, Charlie, you haven't told me the style of play. Saying we play 4-3-3 is not the style of play. We have underlapping wing backs, but we have 4 rock and roll fullbacks, but they're all being told to invert. Kirk has never inverted a day in his life. Conor Bradley gets a nosebleed when he wants to invert, and Frimpong's not an inverted wing back. He's one of the fastest players in the Prem, and he's being told to invert. That's the only reason Szoboszlai looks like our best right back, because he's actually a midfielder and it's the closest to the role. Our forwards are starved. Our striker never touches the ball. Isak scored yesterday, but he barely touched the ball. Again, over and over again. By the way, Ekitike only touches the ball because he drops deep. And when he actually sticks in his position, he's starved of possession.
Is that because I believe that's because Liverpool are not used to playing with an out-and-out 9. Where you say about being starved with the possession with the centre forward. Liverpool are used to playing wide, getting the ball out to Mo Salah on the right, Gakpo on the left. That's it. So never really playing with the 9. Now they're adapting to playing with the 9. And now it's almost going through the bit. And I get you what you're saying about Liverpool coming out of the title race and all that kind of stuff. But the Champions League is way bigger picture. You see it last year, finished top, look what happened. All you need to do in the Champions League is just qualify. That is it.
I agree. Because PSG qualified and they went on to win. I definitely understand the route you can go. But I'm talking about just in terms of good games from Liverpool this season. I've seen about 2 or 3. And we're on about game week 13 in the Prem. We played about 5 in the Champions League. That, for me, to see 2 or 3 good games, even though we've had more than 2 or 3 good results, it's so alarming. Our wingers come up, Salah gets doubled up on, Gakpo gets doubled up on, there are no overlaps. They're just expected to do something crazy or put in the perfect pass. How can you have underlapping wing backs and then have your midfielders in the box, and on the turnover, we're exposed? Every time, every game, and it's not changing, and the man management stinks.
But I watched even yesterday, Kerkez was coming right into the centre of the pitch, and many a times Van Dijk was saying, where are you going? Get back here, stop going in there.
Exactly.
I've got to pick you up on your first point. The biggest thing was saying is Joe Gomez playing at right back. Solid right back, that's a position for him. And that was it. And Liverpool looked safe at the back there, comfortable most of the times anyway. You say about Salah being doubled up, but he's been doubled up from every year he plays in the Premier League. That's no different.
But he still has an overlap though.
Yeah, but he's hitting the numbers. But Salah comes in, as we know, he very rarely does he go down the right-hand side. He's either go down the right and then chops back in on his left to bend one in the top corner, or he's putting crosses in the box. That's a scenario. I think the biggest thing going forward now is them finding a solid base at the back 4. The midfield 3 being as solid as they can be. Szoboszlai has been the best player standout by far for his energy, let alone his performance, but for his energy. You need to find form for Mo Salah, and the 2 big money signings at 3. Ekitike, credit, they paid big money for him, but he's hit the ground running, scored the goals. And now it's for Isak and Wirtz to now push on and make a statement. Yesterday was one of them. The performances were good against a below par West Ham side, but now it's about kicking on for me.
There is a message on the screen actually from a fan called Josh who kind of backs up what you're saying as well, Monta, kind of agreeing with you in terms of the identity and style of play. So is your mind made up? What does Slot have to do to change your mind that he is still the man?
I mean, by the way, I want to be proved wrong. I want to make that one clear, because I know we're not a selling club in terms of hire and fire FC. But for me, if we go and beat Sunderland and Leeds away, that's not going to change anything, because we want to beat Aston Villa and Real Madrid. Yeah, that's for me again, when you're just better than the team anyways, I expect us to be the favourites for that game. And again, it's not a 7-point thing, it's a 9-point swing for me. That's not going to change my opinion. I need, out of the next 10 games, even to 15 games, I need at least an 80% win rate. I'd say. So maybe 12 wins, 11 to 12 wins out of the next 15. Because we're not going to win every single game. Even if we were high-flying Liverpool Football Club, we're not going to win 15 out of 15. Let's be honest. But I need about a good 10 to 11 wins out of the next 15 games. And I need to see performances. Because today's result, Charlie, you said about the result in Mo Salah. it's West Ham. It's West Ham away. No disrespect to West Ham away, but this isn't one of the better West Hams we've seen over the years. And Liverpool probably would have won with Mo Salah. There's no difference. I need to see an identity. I need to see a change in the man management. I still can't forgive the way he threw the younger ones under the bus against Crystal Palace. It's unforgivable for me. And the fact that you can't, like players like Rio, who you want to throw them on when you're 2-0 down against Man City, you can't bring him on when we're 5-1 up against Frankfurt. But he's supposed to be the second choice winger behind Cody Gakpo. No, thank you. I need to see changes in all of these metrics and a significant run of games for me to say, you know what, I'm wrong. But I want to be proved wrong. Players have proved me wrong before, and they'll always prove me wrong when I believe someone's not good enough. And that's what Liverpool have continued to do. And I want them to go and do. So it's not all doom and gloom. It's just one opinion.
We are getting loads and loads of messages actually disagreeing with you, Montel. That's what football's all about. It's all opinions. That's what this show is all about. But if you are wanting a change, have you got a manager in mind that you actually want, who's going to provide all these things?
Here's the problem. With Liverpool right now, the pool of managers, I think, isn't great at this moment in time. I like Xavi, but is it the style and is that the identity of Liverpool Football Club? It's
as in Alonso or Xavi?
No, Xavi Hernandez. I think Alonso's a good manager, but I think he needs maybe 1 or 2 more years. Alonso, I think, because he's doing a good job at Madrid, but the fact that he's second in the league is causing a lot of problems. He's not doing that bad, but I think he's still adapting to his 4 at the back rather than his natural 3-4-3. And I think a 3-4-3 formation at Liverpool coming in and doing that is like interesting. Let's say it's very interesting. But those are the 2 managers I'd probably look at if we did sack Arne Slot. But not so much Areola and Glasner. All that talk, I think they're not ready for the Liverpool job as of now. Still very good managers, very, very good managers, but not ready for the job. But I know we're not going to sell the manager. I just feel like he's shown too many worrying signs to me.
I'm not sure I'm not sure anyone's going to pump up 10 million, 15 million quid for the manager. I'm not sure they're going to sell the manager. He's going to stay. But that's the expectation of being a Liverpool manager. The pressure's on, 100%. The spotlight's on all the time. Same as the player. They've got to turn it round. The next 10, 15 games or whatever, performances need to get back-to-back winning games of football. And the biggest thing they can do now is go and win the next 2, and that'd be 9 out of 9. And then move on and get forward. They beat a below par team. They beat a below par West Ham team yesterday, and now they're going to play Sunday and Leeds, who expect to win both games and then move on. The Champions League's not about winning the league; it's about just getting to the qualification and getting back into the title fight. That's what Liverpool need to do.
One last thing is just on a positive note, because I feel like I came with the big bomb. But it's on a positive note, it's about confidence. As you said, game by game. Right now, no one fears Liverpool. No one fears us, and I think we have like a inferiority complex right now, where whenever we do concede a goal, we capitulate. And this is the first time we haven't conceded a goal, I think, in 6 games in the first 29 minutes. That speaks for itself. So to see Florian Wirtz play the way he did in that first 60, 70 minutes, and then see Isak get his first goal, these are the positives. I said you've got to take that into the next game now, and hopefully you can put on a scoring run. And Florian Wirtz, who again has come back early from injury, looks more mobile, looks quite confident, and then I think it'll be very positive going forward. But at the end of the day, as I said, it's a game by game metric.
In terms of people disagreeing with you, Montel, a few messages come up the screen. I hope you haven't been reading them all. There's one I'll read out now. Is it still there from Paul? I'm just looking over it now. This guy, supposedly a Liverpool fan, knows nothing about managing a team when you have injuries, poor form, and the pressure of being LFC manager. Well, that is fair enough that you don't
injuries.
You don't know how that works because you've never been manager of a top club. But there are a lot of people disagreeing with you. Do you feel that the Liverpool fan base is mainly still behind Slot, and you're at this stage in the minority for now?
I think it's about 50-50 at the moment. I think it was a minority about maybe three weeks ago. When we was like, we'd kind of come off the back of beating Real Madrid, lost a couple of games after that. But I think now it's about 50-50. I think at the end of the day, I've just seen a fan complaining about injuries. And isn't that the stuff this the beating stick we use against Arsenal fans? So it's okay when we do it though. It's just about being balanced. And sometimes people can't understand that. As I said, we play bagel ball. There's nothing in the middle. And sometimes we play 4 midfielders. What do you want me to say? That we can't defend set pieces properly. The wing play is horrible. We don't create enough chances. We move the ball too slowly. There's no identity of football, and the man management is not good at the moment. And the players' morale has been completely destroyed. What more do you want me to say? It doesn't matter. Yes, It's about football and it's about opinions. And you guys are going to disagree. But I just think this is the best way forward for the club. I don't think they're going to sack the manager anyway, so I'd like to be proved wrong. And in an ideal world, I'd like for everyone to come in and go, Simons, you were wrong. But I don't want to be right about this situation. I'm just saying what I see. And to use injuries as an excuse. Have you seen Arsenal went and played Chelsea with no centre-backs? Chelsea have had no Cole Palmer for how long?
Well, it's about getting that squad together, which, of course, at Liverpool you would have expected in the summer to have had that depth like Arsenal have had. But Montel, thank you. Great to speak to you.
Always, man. Take care, guys. Yeah.
Very brave from Montel. I appreciate that.
The club, of course, have already paid tribute, but yesterday would have been Diogo Jota's 29th birthday. I don't know, grief and loss never go away and they affect everyone differently, but is it even more difficult at moments like this for you and your players?
Yeah, it is, but I think in moments like this, we all have to understand that if it's difficult for us, how hard is it for his family, for his wife, children, parents? Yes, it's hard for us, but for them must be so hard. His birthday, Christmas coming up, New Year's Eve. So it has been such a difficult year for them, and this month will not be an exception to that.
Yeah, of course, with all of us, like thoughts with the family. I do remember, and it will always stick with me actually, a conversation I had with you in the summer about how constant the grief is for you and your players. Every time you come into the training ground, walk into the canteen, get on the bus, the guys who would play games console with Diogo, that grief is with you constantly. And often workplace would be an escape for someone who's suffering grief. So can you talk to us briefly about that impact, how every day you feel the loss of Diogo?
I think that's even more for the players than it is for me because they've shared a dressing room with him. I think there's always, between staff and players, we change in different places. So we see each other on the pitch a lot and in the canteen maybe, but I think players see each other in the medical room and so much more. So for the players, it's I wouldn't say every second, but it's probably much more than for us already. But yeah, it is completely different than what usual when you grieve. It's usually someone. It's either someone family, a relative, or a relative of yours, or a friend of yours, and then you come to your work, and that's the place to forget your grief. And now that is the opposite. So now when they are here, the players are, and us as a staff as well, are much more confronted with it instead of when we are at home.
In those circumstances, and I know on the pitch it hasn't been the ideal season, but in the circumstances you faced, are you actually quite proud maybe of the way you've stuck together?
Yeah, but that then has nothing to do with the results, but how the players have, and our fans and everyone connected to the football club from ownership level towards all the way down or up, the way you want to see it, to the fans. Everybody has conducted himself so well. Every game in the 20th minute, the fans sing for him. And from the moment it happened till now, I think I'm proud of how everyone has handled the situation. I think as a club, as players, as supporters, in my opinion, we couldn't have done better than we did. And I leave results completely out of this conversation.
Yeah, it's always really difficult after speaking about Diogo to then talk about football. It always seems just so insignificant. But just reflect on the last week for us, the last couple of results. What have you seen? Are there, I guess when a team's had such a tough period, you're just looking for a few green shoots.
Yeah.
Have you seen any?
Yeah, I definitely did. First of all, we've conceded 7 goals in our last 2 home games before we went to West Ham. and in the 2 games afterwards, we've only conceded 1. We were 1 deflected shot away from keeping 2 clean sheets. Given away hardly any chance at all. I think it took West Ham till the 90th minute before they got their first chance. It took Sunderland 93 minutes before they got their first chance. And people are like, what is he saying now? You went 1-0 down after 67? Yeah. But a shot of 20 yards is not a chance for me. They had 1 chance, not a chance, 1 shot in the first half from 25 yards that hit the bar, not a chance for me. And there was 1 set piece where they hit the post, which was from such a difficult angle that is for me an opportunity and not a chance. Their biggest chance and only chance of the game was when they went 1v1 towards Ali and Vedder cleared it off the line. We did not concede a set piece in the last 2 games. As a result of that, we got 2 results. I think there are a few players that we've brought in the summer that are making progress. Florian is the most obvious one for people maybe, but I think Milos is getting more and more consistent in his performance as well. Alex scored his first goal against West Ham. Hugo was already off to a good start. And unfortunately the other 2, if I'm correct, if I don't forget anyone that we've brought in, have been mainly injured, Jeremy Frimpong and Giovanni Leone.
So what have you done then to create that, what you've kind of achieved, if that's the right word, in the last couple of games, to not concede from set pieces, to not concede so many chances? Have you sort of changed anything fundamentally in terms of how you've approached games or how you've set the team up?
Not in set pieces, because we felt we've been very unlucky in set pieces. So what you could expect, the goals we could have expected to concede are so much less than what we've conceded in set pieces. And the opposite way around, exactly the same. We should have scored 2, 3, 4 goals maybe, at least from set pieces if you look at the amount of chances we've created. But unfortunately, and I'm talking about corners now, we haven't been able to score 1. But that cannot continue like that if you look at how stats are. And defensively, I think we've been more solid, maybe taking less risk, which you then eventually see maybe as well in our chance creation, because that went down in the last 2 games a little bit as well. Compared to the games we've lost with 3 goals difference, we had a lot of chances, but conceded also more. So I think we've played more controlled, especially defensively, which you could see in the first half against Sunderland as well, where we didn't constantly take the risk of going man v man all the time. But still, also that game we had 68% ball possession, so you must do something right without the ball as well if you want to have the ball as much as we had. And the goal we scored also came from a moment like that Curtis was very aggressive, won the ball back, and Florian, for me, Florian could score on that, but it was an own goal, people told me.
Have you felt though the pressure and the scrutiny intensify maybe since that last international break? Because certainly from the outside you look at those games as, I hope this doesn't sound disrespectful, but winnable home games, and the problem is then when you don't win them, that's when the pressure really comes on. It's one thing losing at City and Chelsea, Forest at home, Sunderland at home, PSV at home. If you don't win those games, which you didn't, obviously people look at it differently.
Yeah, and they should, because we expect more from ourselves than these results. Let that be clear. And I think it's also obvious that we want to do better than we are doing. So apart from 2 games, 4 points, so 1 win and a 1 draw, when I look at our performance, there's enough room for improvement, but I think it's very difficult for a team to come from a certain level where we are at, because we've lost a few, to go back in 2 minutes towards the level we were at last season. I think that takes a bit of time as well, and the best way to do so is be defensively as solid as we can. And like I said, we were 1 deflection away of keeping 2 clean sheets, and we only conceded 2 big chances over. Well, the shot from Bowen was a very good chance, but the one from Sunderland was of course a big chance when he went 1-on-1 to the goalkeeper. So I see that we are doing that better, and now we have to build on that solid base and hopefully create more and more. But it's not so easy to create in this league, and we're not the only one struggling with that. I see a lot of teams struggling with a lot of teams in the Premier League at the moment. I think the Premier League has been better than ever, and I said the same last year. And it's hard for every team to beat Sunderland, for example, because they won at Stamford Bridge and they had a draw against Arsenal at home.
Lastly then, who supports you, Arne? I mean, it must be lonely and really difficult being a leader, being a manager at a time like this. You've had a hell of a lot to deal with this season. So the people above you, how supportive are they?
No, first of all, my family is very, very, very supportive, as always, no matter if we win or lose, but maybe even more if we lose. And I think the same can be said about everyone in and around the football club, from ownership to Michael Edwards to Richard Hughes to press officer or whoever else, staff members are very helpful, as they've always been, very, very positive, trying to do even more than they usually do to get results going. So I absolutely don't feel on my own. Of course, there are moments when it's difficult that you sometimes can feel alone, but generally speaking, I feel so much support. And the last one I definitely must not forget, because you were talking about scrutiny and about pressure and this and this. But I think it's been the last 3 games where, or maybe even more, that I every time feel the support of the fans. And not only feel it, I can even hear it. So the ones that are in the stadium, in the away end at West Ham, and this time again against Sunderland, I can even hear the support I'm getting from our fans. So no one has to think that I feel lonely at the moment. Moments, which is normal, but generally speaking, I definitely not feel lonely. I feel a lot of support.
Do you actually feel like you've learned more about the club and the city and the people through the tough times than you did last season, when basically everything went to plan?
Yeah, I wouldn't say learn, but it has shown me even more how special this club is. Because if you win, I think every fan is supportive. Everywhere around the world, you can make the difference as a fan base, when things are difficult. And I think the first time they've shown this was of course when the tragedy with Diogo happened. And the way this season has went, I think the players felt the same, a lot of support from them. And that's much more difficult for a fan base, and this is where they stand out compared to so many other fan bases.
Richard?
Arne, simply you said on TV as a bit of shock, a bit of disbelief at that. Is that just the manner of the goals, the result? Is it everything?
I think the 2 things you just said, the result, the manner where we conceded the goals, the way the whole game went for us. For me, it felt there were so many positives to take from this game, and which has happened to us many times this season, where you felt like, oh, there's so many positives to take, except for the result. And then it would have been nice to get that result combined with the performance, but not for the first time this season. We've conceded goals, dropped points from the same pattern. I'm looking at it now. A set piece, a VAR intervention that leads to a penalty. The first chance they had, which was the 2-2, because the 2-1 wasn't a chance, that was he wanted to, I think the ball was already out, there was contact, so he gave a penalty, and then the first chance from football of them led to the 2-2. And then we had a fantastic attack to the 3-2. What we have to do to score a goal is doing many things right, but unfortunately we concede too easy. That's maybe the right word. I wouldn't say too easy, because we hardly gave away a chance, but when we do, it's a goal.
Beth?
It feels like the season when things start to go wrong on the pitch, there is maybe a little bit of a collapse mentally from some of the players. Do you feel that? And if you do, how do you go about it?
No, I don't feel that. Although it's never nice when you're 2-0 up and you control the game. I think we even had the chance to go 3-0 up with Cody in the counter-attack. And then it's not even a dangerous situation that leads to a penalty. And then if you play at Leeds, or no matter which stadium you play in the Premier League, then there's belief again. And that belief becomes even stronger if then the first chance they have that goes in. And so it's 2-2. And then I saw the mentality to come back. Not only mentality, also quality. Maka, who stepped over the ball, Dalmo, who's in the position we wanted him in to be today. And finished it off. Referee came with 9 minutes of extra time, and in that 9 minutes of extra time, we conceded a set piece.
James?
Arnie, you're in such control at 2-0, you're quiet in the crowd, such a needless penalty to give away. How concerned are you about Konaté's form?
Unfortunately for him, he does a lot of things well, but he has been a bit too much on the crime scene. And that is something I've heard people saying before in England. So that means that he's been involved in goals we've conceded. But yeah, if you are a centre-back, that happens in football. Today, it was a tackle that came from effort. He tried to do everything to block the cross. The ball went out. The player already went down a little bit, and then there was contact. That was obvious and clear that there was contact. Now, the question is, should the VAR have interfered for that? That is, probably a lot of people will say that's correct. But these same people should look at some games we've played this season where the VAR didn't come in moments like this.
Just when you watch that set piece again for the 3-3, that's 10 goals conceded now from set pieces in the Premier League this season. Is that a problem with the setup, or are players just not doing what you're asking them to do at set piece?
It's so much more than you can expect if you look at what to expect from a chance. Do you know then what I mean? So we're talking always about expected goal value. So if you look at that, we haven't even conceded that much from set pieces, but to concede in reality 10, I don't think there's any team in the world that can be in a higher league position than we are if you concede 10 set pieces and have not scored in the Premier League once, unless you count that Dominic free kick. Maybe the West Ham, maybe one then. West Ham second phase throw in. Yeah, then it's hardly impossible to be in a higher position or having more points than we have if you concede so many of those. But for me, it's not a setup because it's the same setup as we had last season, where we hardly not conceded at all in the first half of the season. And in this setup, there are a lot of similar players that are mainly important. So yeah, tell me what it is. Yeah, if I tell you now it's bad luck, then you would probably say maybe that's a bit too much after 15 games. 15 games, yeah.
Yeah. Towards the end of the game, there was one or two chances. I think in particular the Gomez one where he's come through. It looked like he had a chance to go in one-on-one, but then he seemed to change his mind and go towards the corner. Was there perhaps a mistake there in hindsight with the game management towards the end? No. That had nothing to do.
His first touch wasn't perfect, and that's why he thought, I cannot go in front of him anymore. Maybe that's also if that would have been Alex or Hugo or Dom who are attackers, then you get a different first touch than from a centre back that can play as a fullback. So even after the 3-3, I think we had the biggest chance with Virgil's header. So again, mentality, but again, not the result we wanted from that set piece.
You mentioned a minute ago about the 9 minutes at a time. Is that something you disagreed with, or were you happy that was an accurate amount?
I was really happy with the 9 minutes extra time. No, of course not. No, of course not. What can I say? Everything I say about that is not the right thing to talk about if you've been 2-0 up, 3-2 up, and it goes to 3-3. I should talk about these things if we win a game of football.
Yes.
Given you were twice in the league and seeking out the win, how much harder for you is it to take that result, given the good performances your individual and whatever? How hard is it going to be to breathe to move against you by upsetting that and of Inter Milan on Tuesday, Brighton and Saturday?
Yeah, no, it's really hard, but it's not about me. It's about what the players feel. It's about what the fans feel. What everything, everyone that loves this football club feels, and I think we all feel the same at this moment. But what I also hope everyone sees that these players are fighting really, really, really hard, and combine that with good football. Again today, we hardly conceded a chance. And concede 3 goals.
Oh, Joyce, last one.
Week as a whole, West Ham and Sunderland today, how would you praise that? And these 3 games would be, you see shoots of progress, good roller.
Yeah, I see this, but it's not for the first time that I see us doing many things well this season without the results, combining the result with the performance. But yeah, as you said, I don't know if you said this, but I can take a lot of positives from this game. If we would have won it with 3-2 or with 2-0, I think we were all said, controlled performance, dominant, against a very difficult team to play against, because Chelsea experienced it, City experienced it the second half. They've changed their playing style to long ball. They didn't did this before. So it has shown how difficult it is to play against that style. We know this for a long time because teams do this against us already for 14 games, but some other teams are experiencing this now as well. Yeah, and I think we're improving. Individuals are improving, performances are improving. But as you just said, it's hard to take for these players as well that are putting so much effort in, fighting so hard, doing a lot of things well, not to get the result so many times after each other. I think we can all understand that does something with an individual and with a team. Yeah, but as I said, I will keep reminding everyone about the fact that after the 2-2, I didn't saw a team that stopped. I saw a team that came back to 3-2, and after the 3-3, I saw a team that had the biggest chance. Was Alex's header also after the 3-3? Yeah, so 2 headers, twice close. But yeah, we have to do a lot to score a goal, as I've said many times already.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Slip like that. I guess it'll be hard to find the words, but what's the mood in that dressing room you just walked out of?
Yeah, that is simple. That is what everyone can understand. It's not the first time we dropped points. Not the first time we conceded a goal in the last minute. It's not the first time we conceded a set piece. So everyone can, I think, understand what the mood was in the dressing room.
So why do you think, like you say, not the first time for any of those things? Why did it happen again?
Nou ja, I can explain every single time, but let's keep it to this game. 2-0 up. I don't think we've conceded till that moment any chance. And the penalty wasn't a chance as well for them, but we made it a chance because it led to a penalty, VAR intervention one more time. So 2-1, then maybe their first chance of the game led to the 2-2. We showed mentality to go 3-2 up. I think after that I felt we had control. Of course there's always the long ball, second ball, which you cannot always make sure that doesn't happen. And then a set piece comes in extra time. 9 minutes of extra time, and they score. Yeah, that is part of our season, but the only ones to blame is us, because we do concede these chances. We do so much to create. So it's not easy for us to score a goal, though today we scored 3. If you score 3 goals in an away game, that should normally be enough to win a game of football, especially if you hardly concede a chance.
I know that no manager wants to stand in front of these boards and single out a player, but with that challenge that led to the penalty, is it just self-inflicted? You invite them back into the match, you bring the crowd back into the game, and a match that looked really under control, suddenly it's chaos.
Yeah. Yeah, what you can say is that he tries to do everything to prevent the cross from coming. So if you want to call it a mistake, it's a mistake from hard work, from trying. Yeah, there was contact, that's for sure. The player already, I think, was on his way going to the floor. But again, we should, in that situation, look at ourselves and not at the referee or the VAR.
Did we see at that point that the bad run that you've had has just left you really fragile? The second something goes wrong, even though you did make it 3-2, the control you've had, the confidence seems to drain out of the team.
Yeah, but I think no matter which situation you are as a team, if you're 2-0 up and you control the game completely and the fans were quiet, not constantly, but in general, I think we were where we wanted to be. Yeah, if you then concede a goal, going 2-1, they come back to end the game with 2-1. Yeah, then I think if you play in this stadium, the fans will always give it a go one more time, and the players as well. And like I said, I don't think we've conceded afterwards a chance, but the first chance we did concede led to a shot from a difficult angle, I think, but went in 2-2, and then we came back with mentality, with a great attack. So we have to do a lot of things well to score a goal, and 3-3 is as you saw.
Yeah. Just tell us about some of the changes you made. The first double change, I guess at that point they've just switched formation and you're trying to lock down the match?
No, I took off Florian and the other one was Connor. Yep. That's both related to the amount of games they've played coming back from an injury. Connor's been out for a long time. And he had repetitive, repetitive injuries on his hamstring. So, yeah. We always knew before this game he could play 60, so I pushed it towards 66, 67, I think. Flo has played so many minutes, and we have to keep him fit. But I don't think it was about it. It wasn't about the ones I brought in.
Were you close to using Mo Salah at all? It's obviously the third game he started on the bench, and in two of them now he hasn't come on. I might be wrong. I didn't see him really warm up during the second half.
I think all the players go for a warm-up on a regular basis, but we were 2-0 up, we were 3-2 up. I think it was at that moment of time more about controlling the game, and we didn't need a goal at that moment of time. And normally, when you need a goal, like last week against Sunderland, I brought Mo in. Today it felt to me that we needed different players like Wata. I've brought him in many times when we needed to bring the wing over the line. And he gave everything, I think, what I could expect from him, and he was also not part in us conceding the 3-3.
What happens with Mo medium, short term, Arne? It's hard to see a player of that stature and kind of knowing what's happened in the past when he's been left out of the team. It's hard to see him accepting a situation like this for too long.
No, first, like I said before the game, we have to accept the situation we are in, and I make my choices based on that. And the short-term future of Mo is that he goes in a week time to the African Cup of Nations, and but before that we play Inter and Brighton.
Okay. Are you still absolutely sure you can fix this? Did you see enough today to think, that great team that you took to the title last season, it's in there somewhere?
If you want to base it on what we've seen today and what we've showed many times this season, then there's every reason to be very positive. But it's also not for the first time that when we show a lot of positive things, there's not a lot the other team needs to do to score a goal against us, and that is what we have to fix. But I don't think, maybe we've played only 2 games that the other team created more chances than us. But yeah, that's not where it's about in football. It's about scoring goals, it's about results, it's about not conceding. And but if you look at the way we play and the way the boys keep going, and when the disappointment is there after the 2-2, they come back to a 3-2. Was it after the 3-3 that Virgil had his header also, or was that before?
I think so.
I think so, yeah. So even again, then the boys were trying it. So that tells me again, like I said earlier, there's a lot of positives to take from this game, but it gets harder and harder to address the positive if the results go against you so many times.
Thank you, Arne.
You're welcome.
Good evening, everyone. I hope you're well. We'll take a show of hands for questions, please, and we'll set an embargo towards the end for 10:30 p.m. on Sunday evening. Somewhere to start, please. Start with Sham. Thank you.
I bet needed to win to close the gap on Arsenal, and you've done just that. You needed to stay in touch, and you are doing come the end of this year.
Yeah, we can talk. Of course, it's better to be closer than further than the top of the league. But from my experience, I'm sorry, I don't want to feel arrogant, but I have quite experience to win the Premier League or titles. It's the consistent. And the consistent come just for one thing, for the way you play. Not for the result one day or victory, be 2 points behind or 4 points in front. It's the consistent to be how you perform, how much you grow during the year. And today had been maybe one of the best performances of the year, the season, during 95, 94 minutes. We have a good momentum, but always second half. Start from Wolves, we talk about that. Wolves, the first half was really good, the second half we suffer. We were not consistent 90 minutes, and we talk about the reason why. And because we did really good things against Fulham in the first half, and we stopped to do it in the second half. And they see it, we talk about that. It's not about specific movement defensively or offensively. And today, during 90 minutes, and the team, it's not necessary to say what they have done so far against top teams. The results, we concede one chance, we give away again. But a part of that, of course, they have, but the first half in general was, a good performance. And of course, the Premier League had the feeling that even today they drop points. Arsenal is going to drop few points. If you want to be there, you have to win games. And games come from the way you perform, not just for a lucky day or a lucky action.
Ryan Cherky created more chances than any player on the pitch. Incredible assist as well. Was that his best game in a City shirt so far?
Ryan is an exceptional player. So young. Have a huge personality, proving against Fulham in the toughest moment, 5-4 or 3-5-4, come there. And every time had the ball, give us extra passes and continuity. It's not as scary. Have a self-confidence. To him, in the final third, have something special. Especially, what I admire the most on Ryan is not the skills. I never saw Messi make a cross like I've done. Messi is the best player, played that game. And I never saw this kind of crosses. The crosses is fine, it's fine. It doesn't matter. Right, left, with a part of your feet, with the head, it doesn't matter. If it's effective, it's fine. But I like the simplicity because I learned from Messi that they never make a mistake. I never make a mistake with the simple things. Never. Simple things he does perfectly. And after dribble 4 or 5. And what I want to the players, the simplest things, do it well. And after that, if you're doing this, listen, you play, you have a special talent, the mom and dad gave it to you, and he can do whatever you want. But if it doesn't work, now we'll be in problem. So now we'll be in trouble.
Hi, Pep. Is the key to you being successful this season the mentality of the players, the approach, being brave, sort of on the front foot?
Yeah, I think also always they had, except last season for obvious reasons that everybody knows it. We don't have players, but important is when happening in the beginning of the season, the first 5 games, 6 games, 10 games is not going well, something is not a problem. As much as they follow me or they follow us, staff, and tell them, guys, the reason why is that. If we improve that, we'll be better team. And next win, better team. And after that, we are in a good path. When they don't follow us and say, no, that is not the reason why, and after that we'll be in trouble. And that is the point. I want to see the team growing. Because I said, so in knockout stage, in one game, in Champions League, and FA Cup, one game, you play pretty bad, doesn't matter. But in the Premier League, it's a long 38 fixtures, has to be the performance. The performance dictate if you will be there or not. The rest, you can. I'm honest enough, when we win a game, it helped me a lot. 5-4 against Fulham, 4-5, it's top. We won 3 points. I said, if we continue to do what happened in the second half, we stop to do it in the first, no chance. We lose everywhere because that league, you can be 3, 4, 5, 6 games in a row and you don't win a game. It happened to us last season. So it happened for many teams this season. So that's why the way you play will be the key for the future.
Hi, Pep. What did you think of the challenge on Mateus at the end of the game for the red card, and how is Mateus?
Listen, it's fine. It was lucky that it was not the leg on the grass. It was in the moment. It was on top. To be honest, I thought that was like the first action with Josko in the first half. And after that, seeing in the TV is wow. We're lucky that it's good.
Pep, you talked about Cherki having a personality. How important is it that when you come to recruit players that they do have that kind of personality?
It's the key. Skills, the blind guy realize. If you go to the biggest stages away, or really under pressure, it's like a friendly game for them. That is the important. Players have to be in the important teams. To discover that is so difficult. Because you always see the teams, the players in skills, actions, the player. But you don't know how he behave in Anfield and Old Trafford, Arsenal away, or 79 minutes. We need to step up and do it. Friendly games, everybody do it. With 3-0, everybody. No, the question is in the toughest moments, he said, I'm going to win the game, I'm going to perform who we are. When you have a lot of these ones, and I had a lot of these ones in my career as a manager, and that's how you can have success. Without that, no tactics exist. Nothing.
How impressed have you been with Ryan Cherki understanding what he needs to do in the sort of final third with you? Because it's not always attacking players. Sometimes find it difficult to know when to play.
No, we like to tell them move in that spaces, but after we had the ball, I'm not do whatever you want. Before the cross have done, I don't make a pause. I said, now Ryan, put the ball the right leg behind the left and cross. So they have to play. We tell them for the way the defense, the opponent attack or defense, what do you have to do it together. So Ryan had played always in his career, have been, I'm pretty sure, I didn't know, about 12, 30, 40, 50 years old, better than all his mates. By far. And I had the feeling he has done whatever he wants. He has to do what he has to do for the team. And when he is able to do it, he will play a lot of minutes during many, many years in this club because he's a special quality. But he has to do it. Otherwise...
Have you sort of seen an improvement in that side of his game in recent weeks? Maybe since he come back from injury?
Maybe have realized when he hasn't played much, in the bench, maybe he has to realize and that it's so important to do it. Today was an action in Fulham that Savio went, lose the ball, in the final, the action for the cross in the second post, and Erling go to the post, continue, and he didn't run back. He was there, and I told him. So today lost 1 or 2 balls. In 2 seconds was a fullback. Sabi is going to play a lot of minutes. Without that, they know it, the secret of the team. And after the quality of Sabi, the quality of Ryan, the quality of Dot, I don't care. But they would do the things that make the team stable and try. That's why Bernardo run all the time and Phil run all the time and Jeremy is improving a lot. And that is the key. Today I was incredible pleased for the 50-20 minutes from Savio. Incredible. 2 actions lose the ball was a machine. He doesn't like to listen, but I have to tell him. Because when happened in that, you make an incredible cross. It was a 5-2. Or 6-2 or 6-3 in that moment. No, you lose the ball and you're walking. You come from the bench, you have to run double because the other guy is tired. And today I had done it 3 times. Like a machine, make a fault and go there. Sabi is going to play a lot of minutes. He's going to play with us.
We'll set the embargo there for 10:30 p.m. on Sunday evening. Go to Rob, please.
Hi guys, raise your hands and we'll come to you. Who wants to kick off? Go Martin from the Sun.
Yeah, Miguel, I guess you must feel quite frustrated having worked so hard to get back in the game to lose it with the very last kick, but you seem to make a bit of a change as well with taking Trossard off. Was that tactical as well or more about his fitness?
Yeah, obviously we are extremely disappointed the way we lost the game. But first of all, congratulate Villa because they are a really good side and they are really good at what they do. We had some difficulties in the first half, especially with very unusual giveaways that we have given after regaining the ball, which is a really dangerous moment against them. But apart from the Watkins situation, which is a foul, I don't recall anything apart from the goal. And in the second half, we started really well, much more positive. We generated chances, scored the goal. And my feeling was that we're going to go and win the game. And we could have lost it before, again, with two very dangerous individual giveaways. And we didn't. We had two chances to score. The last one went the ball across Declan, and we didn't capitalize on that. And the next goal kick long goes there. Second ball, we put it away for a throw-in. They play fast. A lot of chaos in the box, and they managed to put the ball in the top corner, which is the quality of this league. So that's the summary.
And how much of a blow is that for you? You've dropped now, I think it's 7 points in 5 games, despite playing pretty well in a lot of those. You could have been well clear, and it's a much tighter race.
But that's the league. I mean, you go to Old Trafford, you go to St James's Park, you go to Chelsea, you come here. We've been in a lot of difficult grounds, and today the result could have been different. The reality is not, and that's the step that we have to make. I mean, we've been 18 games unbeaten, and still we are there, very close to each other. And that's the level of the league, and we know that. That's the opportunity that we had ahead of us, and that's it. Now it's time to bounce back. They have given me all the right reasons to think that we're going to continue to perform at the same level, because what the boys tried to do today again with the schedule that we had, it was amazing. So, move on.
James, CBS.
Michael, you mentioned the schedule there. Do you think it's all just became a bit too draining for you guys in the last 10 minutes? Spurs, Chelsea, Bayern. It was all just too much on your leg.
I don't know. At some point, I thought we were going to win it, and there were moments that we gave very strange giveaways that had nothing to do with us. But it's football as well. But the boys are willing to put absolutely everything. They try. The situation with Leo is the same. He could only play a certain amount of minutes. We made the decision to do it early, and if we had to do it after. That was the reason why we had to change him and learn from it and go again.
Tom, Football London here.
How was your sixth different back four of the season? Obviously, Chelsea and Villa, two really difficult away games. You've not had Saliba or Gabriel for them. How big of an impact does that have on the expectations for it? Yeah.
It's what it is. I think we have to cope with that. We're going to have to cope with that for a period of time as well. We know that, and the team has to be able to adapt that. Don't look for excuses. Obviously, we know what those two bring, especially in games like this. But the other two, I think they were exceptional as well today. So that's it.
Isan, Daily Mail.
Is there a case here of when you go behind in a game, trying to get results out of it, Bucks against the with Chelsea, City, where you've gone behind, draw body today? Is there a need to try and make most out games where you go behind?
Sorry?
Is there a need to make the most out of it and you go behind in a game?
Well, we try and we've done it in many occasions, and today I certainly had the feeling that we could do it, but the game was constantly at the edge because we gave two balls away as well, very dangerous, and in those open situations against man-to-man in the last line, they are really good at attacking those channels. But yeah, we have to learn from it. The way we conceded the first goal as well, very far from our standards. So that's learning that we can take from ourselves, and then give credit to the opponent as well, because I think they are a really good side.
Okay, go ahead.
Hi, Mikel. You said they're obviously a very good side. Do you think they're in the title race now as well?
Well, they are. When you look at where they are, the way they play, they have beaten some big teams, especially at home. So, yeah, everybody's going to have to play everybody. So, at the moment, they are where they are, and we are there as well.
Simon, in the back here.
Yeah, when Arsenal was scary, you said usually that's test. It sounds like you mean 5-6 weeks. How long was you?
He's going to be out for weeks. Unfortunately, it's much more than what we expected, or the player was feeling. So he's going to be out for weeks.
Okay, last couple. Nick at the back.
Hi, Mikel. The players obviously look very flat at the end to lose another long, unbeaten one. What was that mood in the dressing room? Big games.
Yeah, well, I mean, everything that they have put in the last 2 weeks and the results that we got, the performances, and to lose it that way emotionally, it's very touching. You just feel that, yeah, everything that you put, it hasn't been worth it. But it is worth it because we will learn again from today, and it will make us a better team again.
And finally, James, ESPN there.
Well, I feel a lot made up about this result. The title race is on, it's tightening up. How confident are you the players can cope with those ups and downs?
Well, it's been 5 months in the competition, and so far we've coped. We're going to have to prove that we can cope again for another 6 months. That's the level. If you think you're going to be in this moment with 10 points clear, I think we live in a different world.
Okay, guys, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Well, Dom, actually, for much of the evening, it was a good Liverpool performance. But do you stand there? Do you just feel crushed at the moment?
Yeah, I don't know what happened after 2-0. You know, I think we thought that that the game is over, and we just made sure at the beginning of the season, beginning of the game, that this is the kind of games where you can never underestimate the team who you play against, and maybe after a penalty, they just had their momentums, scored a 2-2. We came back, so it's a good reaction from the team again, and yeah, just conceding again from a set piece is not the nicest way.
Do you think the poor run has eaten away at your confidence to the extent that when a bad moment happens in a game you're in total control of, suddenly all the good play that you've shown before that, it all sort of disappears?
I don't know. I think you're right, but also after the 2-2, we showed the good reaction. We showed our mentality. We wanted to come back because we knew we made a mistake in a way that we let them come back for 2-2, scored a 3-2. And as I said before, yeah, nothing to say about the result.
How much of a toll is this bad run starting to take on the dressing room, Dom?
Well, what is in the dressing room, it stays in the dressing room. It's not for the public, first of all, but it's us. We have to manage it. We have to find solutions, and yeah. I can always come up with the opportunity on Tuesday or in the Champions League or on the weekend again. But yeah, there are also times where you have to look at yourself, everybody, go home, just think and ask yourself if you did everything what is possible. And if the answer is yes, then yeah, we just keep going and the momentum gonna come.
Do you feel like that champion team from last season is still in there? It's not maybe as far off as it feels right now?
That's a good question. It's hard to speak about it. Last year we became champion. Now I don't even know which position we are. But yeah, every team is doing well. Obviously every team want to win against the champions. But yeah, we knew before the season as well. So now we have to find solutions. We have to show reactions, and yeah, everybody has to take responsibility and not always the old guys or the guys who are here longer. Everybody go on the pitch and show it that you're ready to fight for this badge.
Thanks.
Okay, who wants to get us started? Nazar?
And I wonder what you made of that. Was it progress because you were a step forward on Leeds, or was it more disappointment because you only ended up with a point?
I think it was a game where we missed a little bit quality in the last third for me. Many mistakes. We missed some passes in the last third, some moment that we could shoot and avoid that cross. But yeah, overall, when you are not able to win, we said many times that it's important that we don't lose.
Was that an individuals thing? Like, was it individuals maybe not having confidence, not taking responsibility?
No. For this, I think it's a normal mistake that can happen. Like last pass in the last third. It's just for that. I think Cole was quite good on that. Played half an hour the other day, played 1 hour today. So now it's important that they can build the physical condition.
Peter?
Hi, Enzo. Can I just check about Liam Delat?
Yeah, unfortunately, he was already out 2 months and he has to be out again. We don't know for how long, but looks quite bad his shoulder.
Obviously, that's very frustrating for him, given how his time at Chelsea since he's joined.
Yeah, he has been unlucky. He was out 2 months already. Now he has to be out again. Also, we are a bit unlucky because we need that kind of a number 9. We tried today with the Mark, but yeah, it's injury.
Keris?
Hi, Enzo. The first game where you guys haven't scored since Crystal Palace right at the start of the season was an impressive run. I wonder, what do you feel contributed to that coming to an end today? Was it tiredness? Was it Bournemouth's defence? I'm just curious what you thought.
No, I think lack of quality in the last third for me personally, in terms of last pass, some cross, some moment. We know that we are not going to score every game. I didn't know, to be honest, that was from Palace. Now we're going to try to score on Tuesday. But important at least to keep the clean sheet that give us at least the chance to take points.
Yeah, I noticed it was Wes and Travis Chalobah starting in the middle again. I remember we spoke a while ago about kind of not having that consistent pairing set back. Do you think those two are going to expect to be your pairing?
At the moment, I think in the last 4 or 5 clean sheet we had, they were always there. They are doing very good.
Dan?
Enzo, after the Arsenal game where you played against the team who are a long way clear at the top of the table with 10 men, you hold them, it still felt like there was a chance that you could contest a title with them. But after the Leeds defeat and not taking advantage of Arsenal even today, does that feel like, not over mathematically obviously, but does it feel like it's a very long way to be challenging Arsenal now?
I think it's my message after Arsenal was that if in February, March we are where we were, we are in a title race. That's why I said, because it's so long way, too many games until February, March, that it's difficult. But again, the table is so close, tight, you say. Now you win 2 games in a row and you are there. In case you are not able to win two games in a row, you drop a little bit. I'm still thinking that the 4, 5, 6 teams that they are at the top, they're going to be all close in the moment that you are able to win 1, 2 games in a row.
Okay, thanks guys.
Thank you.